We're live now.
Oh my god. Live? Well, live out.
Oh, shit. Just whacked my microphone. Fuck. Yeah, okay, it's alright then. So it's not. And you can hear me all good?
Yep.
Great. No concerns. Alright, share it around.
Boom, 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 boom. There you go. Do 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 do.
Wonderful. Oh my god, okay. Send. Alright, here we are for our first pay-per-view review of 2024. We have the Royal Rumble, an event that we were much looking forward to, and it's being done a bit later than usual because Callum got a nasty migraine.
Midweek. Very bad.
Wouldn't be surprised if it was from the sleep deprivation you had to suffer.
Well, I was fine for 2 days, like 3 days after. I slept all of Sunday and then did stuff on Monday and Tuesday, and I was completely fine until Wednesday morning.
Lack of vitamin D from the sun, maybe?
Maybe.
Possibly. Anyway, we're here to review the Royal Rumble 2024, which is, of all the shows we've done so far, it's the card with the least matches on it. This had 4 matches.
Not a lot of matches. A lot of stuff coming out of it.
Yep, not just on the show,
yeah.
but also on Raw and SmackDown after it.
Especially SmackDown.
The Raw stuff was just kind of sad with CM Punk, and then the SmackDown stuff was diabolical.
Invigoratingly angry. Anger, rage.
Yeah. Anyway, but we'll get to that eventually. This will be kind of a review of the pay-per-view and then some comments on the week that
We'll
came
talk
after
about
it.
Royal Rumble for like half an hour, and then we'll talk about everything else that was absolute piss for maybe I don't know however long.
I don't know, but anyway, there was only 4 matches. We'll get the niceties out the way first. So, I loved the setup, the way it looked with the ramp and everything. The stage was great.
Great.
It is exactly what I asked for in the predictions. I said I want a stage that's unique and I want that long ramp, and that's exactly what we got. So thumbs up.
But shorter than last year. Very shorter than last year.
Yeah, shorter ramp, but I think the presentation worked. So from a visual perspective, they got everything right on the show. I think the direction, especially this is the first pay-per-view without Kevin Dunn. It's like ever. I think ever. Honestly, ever. I think this is the first ever pay-per-view they've done without Kevin Dunn. Because Kevin Dunn was there during WrestleMania 1. So, yeah, this is their first pay-per-view without Kevin Dunn, and it looked amazing. Especially some of the camera work on this show was great. Especially at the end of the show. The camera at the end of the show was amazing.
Oh, so, like, genuinely perfect stuff.
Yeah, goosebumps. Actual goosebumps. But yeah, presentation-wise, brilliant show. So, in terms of the predictions, despite the fact there was only 4 matches and there was very high stakes, because you chose Becky Lynch to win the Women's Rumble and it wasn't, I have once again retained the title. I have 8.5 points and you have 4.
You know, I will absolutely take Bailey winning the Rumble.
Yeah. But yeah, this was in St. Petersburg, Florida. This was a 4-hour show that only had 4 matches somehow. It was crazy.
Yeah.
They managed to fill it out.
They did, thankfully, yeah.
Yep. But yeah, this was a packed stadium. A lot of people turned up to this show. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely packed.
So yeah, I think on that front we can I have a lot of good things to say. Anything else you want to talk about before we get into the card? Sort of reviewing it.
Like we talked about in the predictions, this pay-per-view had so much going for it going in, and there was so much hype. Probably the most hype the Royal Rumble has had in quite a few years. Last year did, but there was very much a sense of we're just on a very good path, and there's been really good booking. And we all thought Cody was going to win, which he did. This year was so much intrigue over the last month and a half since Punk's been back, since Drew's character has just evolved into this unhinged, unsympathetic bastard, and it's beautiful. Along with Cody trying to finish his story, we'll ignore the other part for now and just focus on the Rumble. Just so much was going for this pay-per-view, and the excitement levels were through the roof. I was chomping at the bit to get this show, just to watch this show and just experience it all. And goddamn, I had such a good time with this show. I really did, other than one match.
You know what was interesting as well is one of the fears I had on the predictions was the video package for the show featured Hulk Hogan teasing he'd return, and he did not return on the show.
Well, maybe not, brother. Maybe I will, dude.
It does make me wonder what was the point of all that.
Oh, but it's just hype, thankfully. But it's what's so funny. When that opening package started at the watch party, the first time he came out, I said, "Go away, you old fuckers." I said something to that avail, and the guy in front of me just said, "Yeah, you know what? I agree with that. You're not wrong." And I was like, "Yeah, he's a prick."
That's the most British thing I've ever heard. It's like, "Go away, you old fuck." Quite right. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's just for hype's sake. But thankfully, nothing came of that. Thank God.
Well, actually, if you really think about it, thematically, Hulk Hogan did return, but through the.
We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. We got 4 matches to get through that weren't ruined at the time.
But anyway, the old racist gave us a really good video package at the start of the show. It was actually
it was really good. It was really hype.
He can still cut a promo, so at least he has that going for him. Even if he's had 9
maybe I win the Rumble, dude.
Even if he's had 9 back surgeries and he's had said terrible things and done
maybe I finish the story, dude.
I loved it. About 5 to 10 years ago, I can't remember when it was. Someone asked John Cena in an interview, like, "Oh, would you give Hulk Hogan his last match?" And Cena's just like, "No,
no, I wouldn't.
No, he can't wrestle. That wouldn't be a good match." He was just blunt about it.
And I don't want him in the ring.
It's the same thing as like when someone asked Samoa Joe last year about, "Oh, is your rematch with CM Punk going to be as good as Ring of Honor in 2004? He's just like, "No, it's not."
I mean, to be fair, it was pretty darn good.
It was pretty good, but obviously it's not going to be that. 60 minutes of indie-fed, explosions. But yes, this was the Royal Rumble, and in my opinion, they started this show with the best match
Oh, absolutely. But before we actually got to that match, we had the return once again of Pat McAfee.
Yes, and he's actually returned full time now.
Yeah, he has. He's now the official Raw commentator. When his music hit, I'm like, oh, no, that's okay. They've done it again because they did that last year with Cole not knowing that McAfee was going to be on commentary that night. Um, and I'm just, I don't have really have any thoughts on McAfee. I think he's fine. I don't love him. I don't hate him, but I think he clearly doesn't just watch the product when he's not around.
So I think Pat McAfee's a good lad, but he's overrated by the company.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
That's my
It's not his fault. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's full of passion. He can have a lot of fun if he's actually paying attention to the product. I think maybe once he's back full time, he'll actually be able to like give good commentary. Because when he said
commentate on the actual story.
yeah, when he said time off, he doesn't really know what's going on, and that's a bit of a
because he
problem.
doesn't watch it. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
But yeah, Pat McAfee's back, and going forward, the most interesting thing to come out of this is Corey Graves is now going to be a play-by-play commentator on SmackDown, which is a massive step for him. This is about he has been a color commentator for 10 years, so this is a huge leap for him because
since the end of 2014,
they're very they are very different jobs. Color commentary is something that I think more people can adapt to quicker
because it's way more character reaction based rather than trying to guide a viewer through a product.
And to be fair, Corey Graves was basically play-by-play when Kevin Patrick was commentating.
Pretty much.
Honestly, their roles were the wrong way round. Kevin Patrick was basically being a color commentator, just reacting to things, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was very strange.
Yeah. But yeah, Graves is now has the very difficult job of calling the matches, which is it's a whole nother level of commentary. And but from what I hear, I didn't watch SmackDown, but from what I hear, he did a solid job, so that's good to see.
I watched SmackDown live, and I think he did do a good job for a first time.
Yeah.
I think my issue is that both Wade and Corey definitely were still within their heel personas in a sense.
Yeah.
And I guess the idea would be that Corey naturally, as however long it will take,
it is kind of
would turn maybe more face than heel.
It is that weird thing that they did. I think there was a very brief time when Gorilla Monsoon was ill back in the early days, and you had a few shows, or maybe it was just one show, where it was Jesse Ventura and Bobby Heenan on commentary together, and it just felt so strange having these two bad guys on commentary.
Yeah.
But you know, I think they'll find ways around it. I imagine I think Corey Graves may have to turn not necessarily babyface, but he might have to become neutral, just so that Wade Barrett can actually feel like an actual argument point.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
no, very much like they had Logan Paul on commentary on SmackDown, and it very much felt like both Corey and Wade were in favor of Logan.
And actually, you know what?
Kind of, yeah.
I thought of something. Someone came up with an idea that I saw on Twitter that I think would be a really good idea. Is that they're not necessarily babyface or heel. What they are they're two guys who like and dislike the opposite people. I think that could be interesting. So, like, Corey Graves likes some babyfaces and some heels, and then Wade Barrett likes the other ones. And they're like people that have morally different ideas.
Possibly. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, so like, for example, Wade Barrett could be very in favor of CM Punk, but he could be very anti John Cena. That's like an example I can think of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, that's the update on the commentary teams.
Yeah, so now, shall we talk about the Women's Rumble?
Yeah, this Rumble was great. It was really cool and awesome.
This was probably... I think this is a contender for the best Women's Rumble. I'm not sure if it is the best.
It's one or two.
Yeah, the problem is that I think in ring 2021 is probably better, but the problem with 2021 was it was in the pandemic and there were no fans.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
2019 obviously has the huge Becky Lynch moment.
Yeah.
But as a whole package, I think this one probably offered a bit more than that one.
You did, yeah.
2018 is also very special because it was the first one. They had all the legends come back, and Asuka won.
Very rehearsed though at the time.
Yes, very. 2020 is very forgettable. It's just Charlotte winning, and then 2022 is fucking horrendously bad. It's a mess, and 2023 was really good too. With Rhea Ripley,
more times than not, the Women's Rumble is actually pretty good.
Yeah. I think it's 2018. I think 2018, 2021, and the last two have been the best four. I think it's up for debate what's the best one.
Mm-hmm.
I think the main problem with this match, this is something that Dave Meltzer pointed out, is there was a lot of botches. But everything else...
mainly from one particular person.
Yes. But apart from that, I think it was pretty darn perfect. In a lot of ways.
I think this was like a near close to a perfect Rumble.
One thing I will say about this match is it had some of the most creative eliminations I've ever seen.
Yes, it did. It also had some amazing comedy spots and just great spots in general.
Yeah.
And a lot of really great moments, set up a lot of matches that could happen at Mania.
Yeah, but this
is exactly what a great Rumble does.
Yeah, this absolutely stole the show, and I think this is probably like, I don't know. I don't know if it fits like top 10 Rumbles of all time, but I think it's pretty close if it doesn't.
Yeah, it's up there, I think.
It's really good. Really well done. So we started the match with your favorite wrestler of all time, Natalya. She came out, she pointed her arms in the air and said, "Yay!"
Yay!
Daniel was in the room when that happened, and he was just like, "What the fuck was that?"
That's what everyone says every time.
But when you give her the right opportunity, Natalya can wrestle. So there is that.
Good.
She's a technician. More importantly, though, number 2 was the return of Naomi. This was brilliant.
This was great. Fantastic. Place went absolutely bananas.
Yeah. Outside of being the women's champion, this might have been Naomi's best moment in wrestling. Mm-hmm. She was so good in this.
In terms of her WWE career, obviously this past year she has done like stuff in Impact, and obviously was women's champion very recently.
Almost 2 years, actually.
Now come back. Yeah. It's been about a year. It's been 18 months, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, she had the first sort of 6 months of her time outside of her and Mercedes were doing a lot of modeling.
Mm-hmm.
While their contracts were like, I guess, running out or whatever. Because I think it was something about like their contracts in WWE expired at very similar times, so they were just waiting for those to end in 2023.
And obviously she went as Trinity to Impact, now TNA, and she did some really good stuff. And obviously we'll get a bit to later about a certain spot in the Rumble, which was really, really good.
Yeah, but what I loved was there was an interview a while ago. I think it was either in lead up to Money in the Bank or SummerSlam with Ari. What's his name? Oh, the guy who interviewed Tony Khan and Triple H. Fucking, I've lost it. It's the guy who used to be in UFC and Dana White hates him, and he's got glasses and he's Jewish. What's his fucking name?
Ari Amatawani or whatever something.
Ariel Helwani, that's the one.
Helwani,
I was thinking, for some reason, I couldn't stop thinking about Ari Emanuel, who owns TKO.
Oh god.
That guy. Ooh. Anyway, so there was an interview with the Usos where Jimmy Uso, who is married to Trinity, said, I think someday these wounds will be healed and she'll come back. And you could really hear the passion in his voice about, like, his wife belongs here. And to see her come back on this show in such a high-profile spot was amazing. Because Naomi's great, and Vince McMahon did not understand what he had with her. Neither did he understand what he had with the woman who I predict to appear at AEW Revolution, but we'll get to that when we predict that show. I think that's going to be a huge pay-per-view for AEW. They've got an opportunity to really do something. Anyway, so Naomi and Natalya had a bit, and then at number 3 came out Bailey. And I remember when she came out, I was like, oh, is she gonna win? Because I had predicted her to win, and she came out at number 3, and I was like, shit.
Yeah, that's what someone else said. Because obviously at the watch party, they had a fan royal jamble where everyone bought a ticket for a spot, and I was sat next to someone who had number 3, who had Bailey, and he was very, very um anxious that she wasn't going to win.
Yeah, and also, I was thinking in my head, I was like, shit, this is the one with Ric Flair and Bianca. That's the 2 other times number 3's won. I'm like, oh, they're gonna do it again? Like, it's the likelihood of it happening is so low. But I had faith.
I forgot that Bianca was number 3 in 2021.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of us forget the pandemic.
Yeah, but those rumbles were pretty good, unfortunately. But the pandemic happened.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's hard to look back on those kind of rumbles.
it is. It sucks, honestly. It really sucks.
Yeah.
I wish the 2022. If I could change history, man. If the 2022 rumbles were the ones that were in the pandemic and 2021 were in front of fans, dude. Oh my god, that'd be so much better. Because then we could actually forget about them. Because the 2022 rumbles are god awful.
Yeah. After that, we had Candice LeRae come out. She did some stuff, not that much of the rumble overall, but really the next spot after that was sort of one of the big highlights of the match for me.
Yeah, we had the TNA Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace, who just beat Trinity for the belt. And she came into the ring and faced off against someone she just faced at the TNA pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I don't watch TNA. I don't. However, I know of her, and she has not only a great look, she's darn good in the ring, clearly. And she had a great face-off with Naomi, which was a great moment for both of them.
I think someday,
very nice.
I think someday she might end up in WWE. I think it's very likely.
Yeah, that's very possible. They were clearly very impressed by
her. I'm not sure. Well, I mean, it's hard to say with this creative team. I would also like to see her partner Jonathan Gresham as well in WWE because he's great too, and Tony Khan really fucked him over in Ring of Honor. But regardless, Jordynne Grace is a star. She's actually come a long way. She a bit like Gunther.
I saw a clip of her like 5 years ago, and she looks completely different.
She's basically done it. She's done a Walter to Gunther transformation, if not more so.
In a sense, but like she looks completely different. She looks like an action figure.
I remember she used to look a bit like Piper Niven, actually.
A little bit, yeah. Now she just looks like an action figure.
Yeah, she's jacked. But I loved how they respected TNA's continuity and they had her and Naomi face off against each other.
Yeah, exactly. That was such a great moment, and they actually mentioned the fact that she is the TNA's Knockouts champion.
Yeah, she came out with the belt, just like Mickie James did 2 years ago.
That belt looks gorgeous. That is such a good
all the
belt.
TNA belts are amazing. Yeah. I'm very keen to see WWE and TNA do more work together because I think it could be really interesting. And it's so funny because 10 to 20 years ago they wanted nothing to do with TNA.
Yeah.
But that's because back then TNA was basically what AEW is now.
Pretty much.
So yeah. After that we had Indy Hartwell. She didn't do that much in this match.
She came in and then got eliminated in like 2 minutes.
I think pretty much everyone from the Way is kind of like floundering at the moment.
I think those two are. We haven't even seen Dexter Lumis in like months.
Yeah, he's got the worst of it. Even Austin Theory as well. He's also floundering. DIY are back together, but they've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, but they're getting over. They are. They've been they had a really good match on Monday.
Yeah, I think with the members of the Way, I think it's just going to take time. It's going to take time to really sort it out.
They probably should just break up the Way and just have them do their own separate things.
Yeah.
Like have DIY, you can have Candice and Indy together as a women's tag team, and that's
because the women's tag team division needs more like credible teams in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it does. Not soon after that, we had the surprising appearance of Asuka.
Hmm. Yep, Asuka came out, and yeah, as always, has a great entrance.
Oh, she looks so cool.
Of course, the Kabuki Warriors are the women's tag team champions, but the main sort of purpose of having them in this match is obviously because of the Damage Control story, which has been one of the most interesting sort of long builds of the Triple H era. Because if you remember, on his sort of first pay-per-view was SummerSlam 2022, and that's when it all started.
Yeah.
The only missing ingredient is Dakota, because she's still just a little bit away from coming back from injury. Though I feel like she's probably going to get involved in the Mania match physically. I could see that happening potentially. Imagine if she was the referee. That would be interesting if Dakota was the special guest referee for that match.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so Asuka came in and Bayley and Asuka started working together, sort of like building up the idea that Damage Control are gonna, take over the Rumble, but then that slowly disintegrates over the course of the match. And they told a really good story with that. Because obviously, they've done a lot in this storyline with Damage Control to present the idea that they are gaslighting Bayley. And that led to the segment on SmackDown this week, which, to be fair, I think they probably could have waited a bit longer. But regardless, that was a really good segment. But we'll talk about that later, I guess. But yeah, they got rid of Indy Hartwell, and then out came Ivy Nile. I believe she's a call-up, like a really recent call-up, if I remember correctly. Some of these people, I think the biggest issue with this match, if I had to have one, was that a lot of the, firstly, a lot of the women from the tag team division aren't well known, so the crowd didn't really know how to react. The other problem is that a lot of Def Rebels theme music is really just generic, and no one really knows who's coming out.
Generic. Insanely generic.
Yeah. Yeah, but apparently Ivanel's good friends with Jade Cargill, so that's cool, I guess. Again, like, she was fine in the match, but it's just the fact that no one knows what her theme song is, and the women's tag team division just doesn't get much to do on TV. And that's kind of the main issue, really. One other thing I will praise about this was they didn't have any legends in this match. They used their roster to showcase who they have.
That was very
and they didn't, because the problem with the 2022 men's Rumble is they didn't have any legends in that outside of Shane McMahon. Call him a legend if you want. But that didn't showcase the roster they have. It just made them look like nobodies. And then Brock just won. Whereas this match actually showed who they have and did it well. And then at number 9 came out one of the Katana Chance. She's also a tag team wrestler with Caden Carter. Again, Def Rebel music. No one knows what it is, who it is. It's like these characters just don't have the right recognizable identity. And a lot of that just comes from like all these theme songs they get given in NXT. They just like, it's just so generic and no one really, it does. The problem with the Def Rebel music is they don't seem to make a lot of songs for the actual specific people. They just make these songs and then the wrestlers choose them. I remember when I think it was in one of the documentaries when Cain Velasquez came to WWE, Triple H was just like, oh, do you want this one or do you want this one? And they just gave him some generic Def Rebel music with drums in it and bass. And it's just like, who's this? So yeah, I don't know if the people that were politicking against him are still in the company or not, but if they end up going, I would really like to see Triple H give Jim Johnston a part-time deal. Just to make it, like, he doesn't have to be full-time and do a lot. He just a few theme songs a year, just to do something, like, just make something that's memorable, because I'm sure Jim Johnston is still capable, He's still healthy, still, even at his old age. He can still do it. But one thing they did really well is they put the spotlight on certain people that aren't as well known to the audience. So like they had Jordan Grace and Ivan going at it, you know, just to sort of really get people to recognize, oh, this is what these people can do, which is kind of what a Royal Rumble is like, because now you get the chance to put the spotlight on 30 people and everyone's watching. You know, everyone's gathered to watch it all together, so that's good. Number 10, we had Bianca Belair, and at this point I was like, holy shit, they're getting out the big stars early. Like, I'm like, wow, because I'm used to seeing a lot of mid-carders early, and then around 20 they start coming in. But in this match, what made it so good was the pacing and the way that they had the big stars come out more often.
The pacing in this match was really good.
Yeah, the main issue I have with the 2017 Men's Rumble is all the big stars came out at the end. You know, you had Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker, and Roman Reigns all come out from 25 onwards, and that sucked. But in this match, they spread them out well, and it really worked for the storytelling. It gave it time to breathe, and it also allowed some of the newer, lesser-known talents to work with the big stars, like Bianca and Bayley and Asuka and all that. So, yeah, big thumbs up for that. I thought Bianca was great in this match, actually. I think she was fantastic.
Yeah, she was very good.
Really good performance. But her biggest highlight comes much later, so which we'll get to. Because that moment later is, that's an all-timer. I love the bit where Bianca she was beating someone up, someone was behind her, she does a backflip over the person, and then it happens again. That was hilarious. Just like, what an athlete. Also, I mean, this is not unusual, but Bianca's just jacked. Her physique is like unreal, and it's no surprise why the WWE like to feature her so much, because she's kind of just like what everything that this company represents.
I think since she lost the belt, it's exactly what she's needed to sort of refresh her.
Yeah, Bianca without the belt and like kind of showing a bit more of an edge has been really refreshing. Because, you know, the smiley sort of female John Cena character was not doing it. And then
she's been apart from it since SummerSlam.
And then at number 11, we had Kairi Sane. Again, great presentation, great entrance. Love the umbrella. Kairi's awesome. I'm loving how Triple H kind of lets these women keep their characters from, you know, the Joshi federations like Stardom. Like, they keep all the same attire, the same presentation and everything. It's because that's something that that Joshi Wrestling is really good at, is they have really interesting presentation with their attires and everything. So that's cool. And Kairi's a great wrestler. Kairi Sane got an amazing spot on this match where she planted her feet on the video board, which is insane core strength.
I still don't know if this was on purpose or not. I can't tell.
I guess that's a good thing, isn't it?
Because she goes over, she's trying to probably do skin the cat, but she slips and then manages to Spider-Man to herself onto the board.
I mean, the fact that she was able to, even if it was a mistake, the fact that she was on instinct able to do that is insane athleticism.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like,
thankfully, it was seemingly they were meant to go out pretty soon anyway, which is yeah, thank God.
I think it worked out in the end, but it gave Kairi a memorable moment, because Jesus Christ, that is not easy to do.
No,
like, if anyone wants to know like what that is like, if you go to like a staircase with a concrete wall under it, and you just sort of hold onto the bars like you're doing a pull-up, and then you just bend your legs under you and try to plant your feet on the wall, and you will feel like your abdominal area is on fire. It is a difficult thing to do. It is not easy.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
After that, though, we had the one of my favourite spots of the whole night, which was the run of Chelsea Green in the Rumble. Everything Chelsea Green did was fantastic.
Yep. I would just also like to mention they did a small thing with because Natalya and Tegan Nox have been a tag team on TV, and they decided to eliminate them together, which that was a good little bit of storytelling they did there. Tag teams in a Royal Rumble turning on each other has always been a good thing. they've done. Having Tegan Nox eliminate Natalya is quite a big deal. So that was a good thing to do. I think probably my favorite example of a tag team elimination is probably in the 2010 Rumble when Shawn Michaels kicks Triple H out like halfway through the match.
Because it's
That
very much character.
I watched that live as a 12-year-old and I absolutely lost my shit at that. That was so good.
Really good.
And it gave Bayley another elimination. Caden Carter came out, so that's another tag team in there. They did things where Katana Chance was going to get thrown out and she rolled onto her back, so they were like helping each other not get eliminated. That was all great. And yeah, the Kyrie spot was crazy with Asuka. It was kind of weird to see Asuka like thrown out so early, but I guess it makes sense for the story because Bayley was like, "Oh, we had a plan," and now she's lost her teammates.
Well, the thing is, she didn't know they were in the Rumble because the reaction to seeing Asuka come in, she was very shocked.
Yeah. And then, as you said, out comes Chelsea Green, who was one of the MVPs for this match. This is one of the best run of comedy spots I've ever seen in a Royal Rumble match.
It generally rivals Heath Slater in 2018.
Yeah. Well, because also this was a sequel to last year, because last year she returned to WWE in the Royal Rumble and she was immediately eliminated. So this time they teased it again with Bianca and then it didn't happen, and then she was in the match for ages and everything she did was fucking hilarious.
When they obviously tease the fact that she tries to get thrown out by Bianca and actually saves herself. And she's like, longer than 5 seconds. After that, Piper Niven comes out. She gets caught in her arms.
Because they're a tag team.
Does the whole, oh, my hero.
Because Piper and Chelsea are a tag team. And so that was also great. Well, but yeah, I mean, I think at this point, Chelsea is basically, in the last year, she's become like the female R-Truth on the roster. It's been amazing. One of my favorite moments from this match was when Bianca Belair hit her finisher on the apron to Jordynne Grace to eliminate her. That was fucking brutal. Just dropped her on the apron. It was an absolutely spectacular moment. But yeah, the run of Chelsea and Piper was very funny. I love the bit where Piper Niven teased that she was going to drop her on the ground and eliminate her, and then she didn't. That was great. Great fun. And one of the best sort of running jokes throughout this match was people were just colliding into Chelsea in the middle of them. And she was just... It was like in the SmackDown vs. Raw games when your whole character's body is just red and they're just completely knocked out and ruined. Oh, that was also something else on the show I haven't mentioned yet that I loved, is they've started showing a top 3 longest in the match thing graphic, which makes it... This is what they mean about like sports-based presentation that they're doing now, is they're actually showing that kind of stuff, which is very... This shows what's different about the current team versus Kevin Dunn, is that Kevin Dunn would have never done this, because Kevin Dunn wants to present it like a soap opera, not like a sport. And by having this sort of top 3 longest in the match thing in the corner and having the commentators acknowledge it, it's actually really interesting. But it also gave like kind of perspective on, you know, these other people that are that have been in the match the longest, and it kind of gives them the credit. It reminds you of where they are. Out came Xia Li. She did pretty much nothing, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
And let's see. I'm gonna skip towards the next one. Then after that, we had Zelina Vega come out with her big sort of wings.
Overwatch reference,
yeah, because she's a gamer.
Yeah,
I remember what was like that story about how she had to explain to Vince McMahon about some kind of like anime character, and he like Vince is like, "What the hell is an anime?" And then she's just like, "Oh, just like imagine if, you know, this character is like the Paul Heyman of this character," and he's like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." Fucking out of touch old bastard. Oh god, that's the other thing about this show is that it had this dark cloud of Vince McMahon's lawsuit all over it, and that was really the press conference after the show was very revealing of Triple H, I think, especially because they asked a question to Cody about it, and his answer was actually really well done. It was actually a really good answer, but then Triple H's answers were just useless.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zelina always adds something good to this match. I think it's a shame about Andrade going to Raw because I think at some point it would be interesting to see them back together again because they were great at NXT together.
Yeah.
When Andrade was champion. I'm sure at some stage, and like after like a year of the brand split, we might get a cross-brand match between him and one of the LWO or whatever. After this, we had Maxine Dupree from the Alpha Academy. She's been pretty over lately, and she's had some fun moments on Raw. Unfortunately, in this match, though, she was a bit of a botch fest.
Botch after botch after botch.
Yeah, I feel bad for her because she's actually been really like over lately.
She just couldn't get that tilt-a-whirl head scissors.
Yeah, she really couldn't. She needs more training with Chad Gable.
Yeah, and just anyone else who can give her some help.
Yeah. I actually think what I really liked about this is what this did with Piper Niven is that she's a character where, you know, she's a big, strong heavyweight and she can power through anyone, but she's still quite a funny character as well. You know, she has a sense of humor.
She has a sense. She's Scottish.
Yeah, exactly. And her pairing with Chelsea is really interesting. Like the way the dynamic of each other.
Yeah, their spots together throughout the entire match were so entertaining.
Yep. And then after that, at 19, we had Nia Jax, Captain Cringe herself. God. Now, what I will say is, at least she was much better this year than she was last year, because her Rumble stuff last year was fucking awful when she came out at number 30.
Yeah.
They definitely used her better this time, I will say.
There's been a bit more support for her lately because her stuff hasn't been terrible.
Would it be fair?
Just don't care.
I don't care either, but would it be fair to say that this has been her best run? Probably.
She was okay in 2018. You know, her whole Alexa Bliss story, that was fine.
Yeah, but then we got my whole...
Yeah, that was, to be fair, that was 2021.
Yeah, my whole...
She was... there was a lot of botches from Nia.
Yeah, there was. But she did serve a really good... Like, in terms of Nia's performance, she, as always, was, you know, very shabby. But in terms of booking, I actually think the intention was actually used really well with Nia in this match. The way that they used her within the match, I just wish the performance was a bit cleaner, let's say.
But the one thing she did do was serve a great purpose for Chelsea Green getting absolutely abused for the next 5 minutes. Yep,
because Piper Niven and Nia Jax, who are the two biggest women in the match, absolutely squashed Chelsea. I love the way Chelsea
her selling was great.
It's so funny. It reminds me a lot of it's a kind of selling I've seen a lot of people do before. It's something I remember whenever Kenny Omega is doing a comedy match, this is exactly the way he sells. It's fucking hilarious.
What a great rehire.
Yeah,
Chelsea Green has been.
It also reminds me a bit of Kyle O'Reilly as well, in a way. It's that kind of selling.
It does. I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, surely at some point Matt Cardona has to come back to WWE. I don't know. He is the king of the indies right now.
pretty much.
I really respect Matt Cardona as well. He refused to sign with AEW because he knew that he could be the top guy in the Indies if he didn't. And he's right. He is the top guy in the Indies at the moment.
Had a face-off with Nick Nemeth the other day.
Yeah, and he's like, "Who do you think you are, Dwayne Johnson?" Fucking great. So, number 20, we had Shotzi in her tank.
Yeah, her hair's growing back.
Yep, and she has again. Her attire is very interesting. She's got like a long sleeves on.
They also, during the spot, you had Maxine Dupree do the worm.
Yes, they did do that.
Well,
you know, I think I've put my finger on it. You know what Shotzi reminds me of? She reminds me of a Sims character. Like from the Sims 2 specifically. She reminds me of a Sims character.
Oh, God. You're not wrong.
Beat it, pussy.
Yeah,
I remember. What was it when the Sims go in the shower? They have two songs. They've got the Presto Birabo Serio, and then there's also the Hey to the Spooky Schnock, Siku the Spooky Knock.
Oh, Jesus.
The best thing about the Sims though is how they get actual artists to sing their songs in Simlish.
Yeah, like the Katy Perry one is pretty famous.
That's the most famous one. I also love the Trivium one from The Sims 2. Because it's like a really hardcore metal song, but then they sing it in gibberish and it's like the sandwiches and the lunchbox. Anyway,
yeah, number 21, Becky Lynch.
Yeah, so they got out Becky Lynch. Your prediction to win, who didn't win.
No.
Once again, as I said, they really spaced out the big stars, which was well done. It made the match feel important. Becky is an absolute superstar. She just can't. The win. I've said this about Jon Moxley in AEW, but it's the same thing with Becky. Whenever she walks out in her entrance, she immediately feels like a star. Just the look on her face, the swagger in her walk. She has that. She feels
so well.
Feels like a big deal always.
Every time, yeah.
Presentation is always top notch. And also, they've done a great thing by referencing the 2018 blood botch that made Becky Lynch a star. Is they've had a feuding with Nia Jax, and they tied that into this match. It was like Nia saying, "Oh, you only became a star because of me, and you need me."
Yeah, botching.
Yeah.
Being very unsafe.
But yeah, like when Becky Lynch came out in this match, it's the same thing as like, when, in the old Rumbles, like when John Cena comes out or when The Rock comes out or Steve Austin, like it's that level of star. That's what it feels like.
During this is where Chelsea Green is eliminated, and it's very funny.
Yeah.
Just sort of takes her fingers off the ropes and just boops her off.
Yeah.
Very fun stuff. Very great run from Chelsea. One of my favourite spots of the whole Rumble.
Yeah, that spot reminded me of something out of like LPW that I did when I was a teenager. It's like, you remember, because you watched the LPW Rumble that I will not reveal on this internet, so because I don't want anyone to watch it. But it's when the Oliver Jacobs character walks in, and then my friend Luke, who basically played a Kanye West character, basically just boots him straight out.
You did the whole bushwhacker walk.
No. So it's actually more a reference to Justin Gabriel's entrance from the Nexus.
Right.
Because Justin Gabriel was just like, his gimmick was that he was a wrestler and that he would do a 450 splash and that was it. And so it's like, what does he do for his entrance? He just does his arms like that. Because it's such a generic wrestler entrance, and that's why Oliver Jacobs did it, because he's a generic wrestler. PJ Black was way better in Lucha Underground. He was so good in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think the best thing they ever did with Justin Gabriel was probably when they did like a WWE tour of South Africa, and they actually showed video packages of him doing. He does like the skydiving. That was cool. Anyway, Albert Fire, I think it was that came out, or was it Isla Dawn? It's one of those two.
Amplifier.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, I always forget, like, because of the draft and all the TV stuff, I always, in the tag team division, I always forget which ones are from NXT and which ones aren't, because they've all been called up, but they haven't done anything.
No, yeah.
But yeah, out came Shayna Baszler. Again, Shayna's great. Unfortunately, she had the match with Ronda at SummerSlam that was garbage, so she's kind of lost a lot of momentum.
Awful.
But she has been in a tag team with, who was it? Oh, Zoe Stark. Mm-hmm. So that's been great to see, because they both are quite, brutal, and they have, kind of a ruthless style. I loved when Shayna got Alba Fire into that like submission upside down suplex position. That was really unique. That's actually one of my favorite things about Shayna's moveset as well, is that she turns MMA submissions into strong grapples, and no one else really does them. Shayna did a big arm drag to Nia Jax as well. Yeah. Hopefully Shayna can distance herself from the Ronda Rousey stuff. One other thing they did on the show, and actually, I usually shit on WWE for their product placement. I actually think it was really well done here. Mm-hmm. Because what they did was they had the C4 thing in the countdown, and every time it went to 4, it showed the logo. And also they had the Slim Jim stuff during the title match, and that was almost not on the show because of Vince, but then Vince resigned and they brought it back. So they actually did product placement well, so thumbs up for that. Mm-hmm. Then at number 24, we had the comedy spot where Valhalla came out at 24. Pick. Yep, your pick. Number 24, Valhalla came out, and then R-Truth came out because later in the night, he was number 24 in the men's rumble, but he got confused as to which match it was. This was brilliant comedy. It was so good.
A lot of Truth stuff can be, over on his career, can be hit and miss. The run he's been on these last couple of months have been gold. This was genius. This was genius.
Well, the fact that in his injury he had an NXT a while back, he almost had his leg cut off. It was like a really serious injury. So the fact that he's been able to come back and have this run, it's been awesome. This is probably the best run he's had since, God, maybe when he had that segment with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. That was probably the last great thing he did. That was so funny.
Yeah, 2020, I think that was.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was always quite partial to his heel turn in 2011 as well, even though Capital Punishment was garbage. That whole gimmick of like he has an imaginary friend that he thinks represents all the fans that he hates, and he smokes cigarettes on TV, and then he's like, oh,
he did that in the UK.
Yeah. That was a hilarious thing. It's just, as I said, Capital Punishment was shit. But yes, Valhalla came out. R-Truth entered, got thrown out. He was confused. Adam Pearce was out there. No, you're in the men's rumble. Valhalla's like, get out of here. Then Valhalla gets in the ring and immediately gets eliminated because of R-Truth. Yeah, that was just a very funny moment. After that, we had Meechin from the OC, Keith Lee's wife.
Yeah.
She was again all right in this match. She's a really good athlete, but just doesn't have much going on story wise.
No, she got slapped by Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown.
Yes, she did. And then after that, we had at number 26, I think it was, we had Zoe Stark, who's currently teaming with Shayna Baszler. Again, Zoe Stark, unlike the other NXT call-up, she actually feels like she fits on the main roster now because of all the work they did with Trish and Becky.
Good. Yeah, she had a good run with Trish, and I think she's still got a ways to go.
For sure.
I think it's been a decent Yeah, for her.
They're heading in the right direction, and she's a hell of an athlete.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She has some really good moments in this match, I think. And her tag team with Shayna makes sense. I think it's a good pairing.
Mm-hmm.
What I think is interesting is that, like, we'll talk about Tiffany Stratton later, but Tiffany Stratton's in-ring style is very clean and pretty, whereas Zoe Stark's is the polar opposite. It's very rough and rugged. I think that is an interesting contrast that they've done in NXT with those two. I love the spot when Shayna got Zelina Vega into a submission and threw her over the ropes.
Yeah, that was really good.
And I've always liked how with Zelina Vega in these matches is that because she's one of the smaller women, they kind of book her a bit like Rey Mysterio in the Royal Rumbles, where she has to kind of like make her way around everyone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's actually one of my favorite endings to a Rumble was 2006 when Rey had to overcome Triple H and Randy Orton, and he basically has to pinball around them.
They pretty much powerbomb her onto
Hellfire,
I think.
Yep.
And it looks like she bashes her head. Like,
yeah,
fucking really rough.
That was rough. 27, we had Roxanne Perez, who is still in NXT. She was also in last year's Rumble as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Perez is that I think there's been a lot of booking issues with her, unfortunately. And the first reason for that is that she prematurely won the belt because of Mandy Rose's being fired, from the WWE because of the fan time page. The other problem is that Cora Jade keeps getting injured, so their feud keeps getting prolonged.
Yeah.
But CM Punk and AJ Lee have both been very big fans of Roxanne, have been trying to like help her, develop. Yeah, I think again there's a lot of time for her ahead of her. She's a good athlete.
I bet like Punk's can do a lot of, like he's been doing earlier on in his return, doing a lot of stuff backstage at NXT.
Yeah, well, I think someday when Shawn Michaels, hangs it up, I think Punk could take over NXT.
I think there will definitely be a time where Shawn moves to the main roster in terms of being a producer.
That's very true, actually.
So, yeah, very, very true in the next couple of years, I'd imagine.
I think CM Punk could be a good person for NXT, really, for the generation after.
If his Collision run is to go by, yeah.
Oh my god, yes. He basically booked Collision like a modern day version of what Jim Cornette wants wrestling to be. And it was really, really good. It was like the best weekly show of 2023 by far.
It was a really good best 2 months.
Technically it was 11 weeks, so almost 3 months.
Yeah.
And actually, to be fair, the Collision episode right after Punk got fired is actually really good. So I would say it's 3 months, 12 weeks. Because I think that was the one where that had that was the show that had Roderick Strong versus Darby Allin, which was one of my favorite TV matches of last year. That was a brilliant match. Like, that was during Roddy Strong with the neck thing. He forced himself to compete. That was the match where Darby bounced on the top rope. That was brutal. Anyway, at number 28, out comes Jade Cargill from AEW. Finally debuting. She is an absolute megastar. She's going to be one of the top women in WWE in years to come. She has the right look. She has the right charisma. She's a really interesting, unique promo. Obviously, in ring, she has time to develop. Bryan Danielson definitely helped her out in AEW get better. But in terms of star power, immediately, everyone loves her. The theme song, they basically copy and pasted Mikey Ruckus' theme from AEW. I still think the AEW version is better, but this one's still good.
Just have a really cool guitar riff.
But to be fair to WWE, AEW rips off WWE's themes all the time. So it's only fair.
Yeah, have you guys heard of Adam Cole's theme?
Yep. It's literally just a remix of the Undisputed Era theme. So yeah, Def Rebel did their own version of the Mikey Ruckus theme. Jade Cargill came into the match and absolutely wrecked Nia Jax. It was awesome. This to me was like, this was very reminiscent of what they did with Drew McIntyre and Brock in 2020, where Brock threw out a bunch of guys and then Drew eliminated him. Obviously not to the same level. That was better, but this was still really good. It made Jade look like a superstar, throwing out, body slamming Nia Jax over the top rope, one single-handedly. There was also a hilarious moment where Becky was standing right next to her and just laughed.
I thought that was funny. I saw a couple of people who thought that was a bit undermining of her, and I'm like, no, because they're feuding. Becky and Nia have been back and forth lately, so yeah, that was a good spot.
Yeah, I also I don't know where they're going to go forward with her, but I kind of like how, just like in AEW, they've kept her sort of tweener character where she feuds with baby faces and heels. You know, she doesn't really have an allegiance. She is just a star, and she doesn't really need to, you know, consider who's her friends and who's her enemies. But yeah, Jade was great. Absolutely, but she instantly made an impact right before the next person came out. She just stole the show. 29 was Tiffany Stratton from NXT. Once again, also another big star in the making. She was brilliant. I think she, in ring, is one of the fastest rising in ring talents they've ever had. Because when Tiffany started, she was very green. In, you know, NXT 2.0, you know, the fucking Color Vomit brand that Vince made. Tiffany was very, very green, and now she's amazing. What an athlete. She has one of the best moonsaults of all time in the history of wrestling. She can do a swanton off the top rope onto a group of people. She looks like a star, she acts like a star, and also her character is very reminiscent of Sharpay from High School Musical. That really works for her. Yeah, Tiffany looked like a star in this. She was great, and I think she's gonna have a great run on the main roster. I think the future of the women's division, because of Shawn Michaels' input in NXT, I think the future of the women's division is stacked. Not only in WWE but also in AEW soon too. They're really stacking up that roster as well. So women's wrestling is pretty much the most stacked it's ever been. They've got a massive roster with a lot of talent. But yeah, Tiffany was great in this match. She was immediately competitive with the biggest stars, which is huge, booking-wise. You know, she was in there with Becky Lynch. Which, again, that goes back to Becky Lynch beat Tiffany Stratton for the NXT women's title last year. So that's tying that story together. That was really well done. And then out came at number 30 was Liv Morgan, who's returning from her weed ban.
Yeah, being arrested. And her injury, obviously.
And Liv, in the last Royal Rumble, came out at number 2 and lasted all the way to the end. This is kind of her coming back to sort of try it again. And yeah, after that, now that number 30's come out, we are left with a massively stacked pile of lots of very, very talented women in the ring. And all I can say about that is well done. They've done really well.
This was the best Trips has booked Liv Morgan in his entire run.
Yeah.
Just this wildfire at number 30.
Yeah. As well as last year's Rumble too. It's like only the Royal Rumble match they book it well. Yeah. So yeah, we had Bayley, we had Liv, we had Zoe Stark, we had Jade Cargill, we had Becky Lynch, we had Tiffany Stratton. It was stacked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Roxanne Perez was in there, Naomi was in there, Bianca Belair was in there. It was massive. Zoe gets thrown out by Liv, and then after that, I believe it was Roxanne got thrown out by Tiffany. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, going back to their NXT feud.
Fine.
She does a Toodles thing. And then they showed shots of Io Sky and Rhea Ripley watching the match. And they were actually watching the screen like a normal human.
You know what, Tiffany? You said that she reminds you of like someone from High School Musical. She reminds me of someone from Riverdale, but actually a good character.
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about as well.
Yeah. I recently watched a few episodes of Riverdale, watching commentaries. That show is fucking insane. And
Yeah,
it's so bad.
I watched the first few episodes. I was like, nah, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. It's
I
so
watched the first episode and last episode of every season
yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
fun.
Dude,
That was
the
a fun way to
pacing in
watch it.
that first episode of season 1 is insane. The amount of stuff they cram into 1 hour. But yeah, I actually think it's possible that in terms of the actress's performance, the way they adapted it to TV, they may have had some inspiration from Sharpay from High School Musical, because that is quite an iconic, like, you know, princess
2000
performance.
character.
Although, to be fair, you could argue Sharpay is inspired by Mean Girls as well. Bloody Regina George, because she's the classic blonde. After this, we had a stare down between Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. This was amazing.
Give it, give it, give it.
These two need to have a match at WrestleMania at some point. Hopefully this year. If not this year, at some point. That is a clash of some massive stars there. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. I think one of the other things I'll praise about this show is the way they use the camera work, the way they use the WrestleMania sign in the background of shots was impeccable. It was so well done to visually tell the story.
Yeah, a great elimination here is Tiffany goes over, grabs Bianca by the hair, and then Bailey kicks both of them out at the same time. That's really good.
That was really creative. Like, this was the point in the match where the eliminations were all just so creative and well done. Like, it was insane how well they thought out all these ideas. When Jade grabs Naomi by, like, she cradled her like a baby and used her long legs to kick Becky Lynch in the face and eliminate her, that was shocking, but it was really well done. It made sense to have Becky eliminated, like, in a way that she couldn't have anticipated. You know, she wasn't beaten. She was kind of blindsided. That was super creative. Like you said, Tiffany Stratton, you know, grabbed Bianca's hair and was hanging on, and then Bailey kicked both of them out. That was amazing. Great elimination. Bailey's just chuckle at the camera. The fact that she's lasted this long, she's managed to get Bianca Belair, the person she's been feuding with for 18 months, out of the ring was so satisfying for her. They did this huge crowd shot where it was over the ring and the big circle above it, light circle, and they panned down. It made it look like a movie, like a finale climax action scene. You had Bianca, you had Bailey, you had Liv Morgan, and you had Jade Cargill as your final three. Great choices. Fantastic choices. Yeah, just it was so exciting. Like, every second of this sort of last 10 minutes of this match was like, oh my god, this is so awesome. Liv once again trying to overcome. Last year she had to try and overcome Asuka and Rhea, and she got screwed with the mist. Bailey goes over. Like, every time Bailey went over the ropes, it was like anxiety central, because, you know, we all wanted to win. And then they try to pull Jade over. They're all on the apron, all three of them, all ready for valid elimination because they're all going over the top rope. Jade tries to power through. They pull her down. Jade is still hanging on, desperately trying to get the powerhouse off. And then they do the expected. Liv does their finishing move, pulls Jade off, and then Bailey pushes her out with her feet and wins the match. So good.
Yeah, Liv coming second again 2 years in a row.
I feel like maybe next year Liv should win the Rumble. I think it would make sense for the story.
It's really they've at least set it up for that to be potential.
Yeah,
they've got a story there.
She's always the bridesmaid with the Rumble match.
No, yep, exactly.
Yep. She's kind of the Ruby Soho of WWE, if you think about it.
Quite funny to think about.
Because they were both in the same faction.
Yeah.
They showed a shot of Becky Lynch looking disappointed, and then they did this awesome shot of the 4 women sitting by the barricade, all lined up. Man, what a match. This was... I just rewatched, going through it now for this review and rewatching it. This was so well done.
So fun.
Yeah. And I think this is one that's really... over time, this is one that really people are going to look back on and be like, wow, that was a great match.
Right choice.
And I think Dave Meltzer is being really harsh when he's hyper-fixating on some of the botches, because the 90% of this match was really well done. And it was only small bits of it that didn't work. You know, the finishing touches. And not only was my prediction right, but Bayley was also the person I wanted to win. I think she's been of the horsewomen, she's been the one that needed the most. You know, she got her big run in 2019 with the title and then turning heel, and then during COVID, she had a great run. Over the last few years, ever since she came back from injury with Damage Control, I think there's been a need for her to really, you know, get back in the spotlight. And having her win the Rumble was the right choice. And it led to the segment where she speaks Japanese to Damage Control and chooses Io Sky, and it's going to be awesome. And also that last shot of her looking at the WrestleMania sign, you can see the NXT babyface Bayley in her face as well, in her performance. You can see it coming back out. It's like this slow build up to her turning babyface after being heel for 5 years. And I think WrestleMania is finally when Bayley's going to feel like the big star that she's always supposedly supposed to be. You know, her main roster run has been a big turbulent ride, but I think they're finally going to actually present her in the way that she needs to be presented.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think Bayley needs to win the belt at Mania. So yeah, your sort of final thoughts on the Women's Rumble.
So good. It was so good. So much great spots, entrances, appearances. Just everything about it was so well paced, well executed.
Yep. And in terms of WrestleMania, I think we had Bayley versus Io. I think Becky should win the chamber match and face Rhea Ripley. I think we should have a women's tag team match featuring a lot of the more, you know, the big tag teams that were featured in this match for the tag team championship, including Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, of course. And I think if you want to do a featured match, because Charlotte Flair's injured, has a torn ACL, I feel like they could do Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill. I think that would be a huge match.
Absolutely. Doesn't need a title, doesn't need anything.
Yeah. It's about time that they feature like women's matches that don't have belts involved on big shows.
Have them just
feuds. Just feuds, yeah. So yeah, massive thumbs up. That was where the show peaked. Unfortunately, it never hit this level again, but there was still other good stuff on the show to talk about. But yeah, I'm very I'm very, very happy about how they did the Women's Royal Rumble. Thumbs up.
Very happy. Very happy.
So, after this, we had the Fatal 4-Way match for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, which is the same belt that, in terms of lineage, the one that Dusty won by countout and then was screwed out of. Just to remind you all, it's this belt. Okay, we're not going to get confused and do anything stupid, are we? We're not. Yeah. So, they showed a video package for this match. I think, personally, I would have put AJ Styles and LA Knight in the Royal Rumble match myself and removed two of the less important names. I would have just done Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton in a straight singles match. I know they don't want Randy Orton to get pinned, but literally, it's
Randy Orton.
It's fine. It's Randy Orton. He can survive anything. It's Roman Reigns. He beats everyone.
Yeah.
Even if
Absolutely.
if it wasn't Randy, they really didn't want to pin him, just do Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles. If you can't have Randy Orton, just do that.
Could have done that too.
But yeah, this should have been a singles match. The two other big stars should have been in the men's rumble to really beef it up, give it more star power. Yeah, so I think in that regard, I think they made a mistake. Because it just made it too messy, and it takes away the significance of Randy Orton's return by making it complicated when it didn't need to be complicated. Yeah, so Randy Orton came out first. He's been on having a lot of fun lately. You can tell he's passionate. He's having a really good time. And the entrances were really long for this match. I think because of the lack of matches on the show, they allowed the entrances to really breathe. The other thing I'll say about this show that was nice was that I think something happened with Mike Rome. I don't know if it was personal or whatever, but he couldn't be on this show, so Samantha Irvin did the whole thing. And she was great on the show with the announcements.
Yep.
She did really well. After that came out AJ Styles, who has recently had a character shift. He's being a bit more of a heel. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was LA Knight. What am I talking about?
No, it wasn't Styles.
It was Styles? Oh, he just had a short entrance. I skipped forward and it immediately went past it. After that, we had the Slim Jim ad. Which is, it's the same one from SummerSlam. It's funny because this reminded me a lot of the fact that this nearly didn't happen because of Vince McMahon's stuff. But it's a great ad. I remember.
It was a different ad, actually.
No, it was the same one. It was the same ad.
No, because the last one was a classroom. This was like a fucking DMV, whatever that's called.
Oh, right, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, okay, well, I mean, it was basically the same ad, but was just a different location.
Same premise.
Yeah. They had a bunch of people in the crowd holding Slim Jim. This was the only product placement on the show that was cringe, was when they had all those people wearing the shirts and holding the Slim Jim and waving at them at you. That's the only thing that was weird.
God.
But yeah, LA Knight's great. And then after that came out the interminably long entrance of Roman Reigns that never ends.
It's still going.
Yeah. One thing I will add is that Anthony was in the room during the ad, and he's not really that up on current wrestling, but he knows Randy Savage, and he had a good laugh at that ad. He thought it was great.
Yeah, very funny.
One of the things that was like maybe crack up was Roman Reigns did his entrance, and Pat McAfee stood up and did the number one in the air. It was
fun.
Yep. It's weird because Pat McAfee's not a heel, but he supports heel wrestlers. He just seems like really gormless.
He supports champions. He's a
but I guess given that he's an NFL player, that kind of makes sense. He's a bandwagoner.
Mm-hmm.
A bit like, and it kind of reminds me a bit of Jerry Lawler, because Jerry Lawler was always like that. He would always like be a bandwagon to whoever was the winner. Especially in Royal Rumble matches, he's like, that's my pick. Oh, no, now that's my pick. And now that's my pick. So he's a bit like Jerry Lawler, but without all the inappropriate humor.
Not a massive pervert.
Yeah. Although Pat McAfee's a bit of a dumb shit in other ways. Anyway, it's alright. Reigns has his entrance. It's so weird rewatching this not like seeing after SmackDown. It's just like everything to do with Roman Reigns is so poisoned right now.
How to take the wind out of all of your stars and your product in 7 days.
Take the wind out of the most hyped and celebrated title reign of the last 25 years of wrestling.
And let's be real, the last year has been overall piss. Especially the last 6 months has been
since SummerSlam.
Yeah. They've now made it just a complete mess, even more so now.
He should have lost to Cody last year. Everything would have been better.
Just becoming,
The
would fix a
only
lot of
match, the
problems.
only match that wouldn't make sense now if that didn't happen was the LA Knight match in Saudi Arabia. That's the only one that would be weird. I guess they could have done it without the belt. Could have had it just be a feud.
Mm-hmm.
I also think
they would have separated the belts back.
if Roman Reigns wasn't champion because he lost to Cody last year, they could have done a match where it was Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa versus John Cena and LA Knight. They could have done that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. But anyway, apart from that one Saudi Arabia show, everything would have been better if he had just lost to Cody last year. One thing I want to add that I noticed about the show, I don't know if I've seen this before because I haven't been paying that much close attention. I love how on LA Knight's tights, the LA in his logo is the scratch logo from the Attitude Era.
That was very cool.
Yeah. That's a great little touch because LA Knight is...
It was in Ode of the Rumble, like 2001 or something, or 2000.
Yeah. But also, you know, he... Oh, yeah, because the Knight was the Royal Rumble logo from the Attitude Era.
Yeah. I think it was like 99 or something.
I think in ring, the best performer in this match was AJ Styles. That's not a surprise. He was really well
no shocker.
performed. No shocker. The other big spot of the match I loved, and this is a spot that's always great, this happened in the 2017 Royal Rumble match, is the spear into the RKO. It never goes wrong. It's always great. This one especially was like last second. It was great. And then Solo Sikoa came out, and this match became a giant mess. Didn't it? This really was a mess of a match. It was so discombobulated.
Yep.
All the momentum was
did not really
messed with.
Hype of the triple threat from Mania.
No, it didn't. It kind of just sucked the wind out of everything. And also, you got to remember the triple threat from Mania with Edge and Bryan. It was really well booked, and the guys in it made the match what it was. Number one, because Edge and Daniel Bryan are just amazing storytellers in the ring. Anyway, they just get it. I mean, not to say that the three in this match aren't. They absolutely are. But it's just the way that this match was done didn't handle it in the right way. They tried to do the stack pin thing. It just wasn't the same. Again, Solo Sikoa gets involved. It's by this point, Solo Sikoa should be wanting to not help Roman Reigns. This is just weird. Yeah, this match had potential and it just kind of flopped.
Very badly.
Yeah. Not like an abysmal match, but just a mess.
Like I said, Knight needed to be in the Rumble, and either Orton or Styles needed to be in the Rumble.
Yep. Yeah, the AJ Styles match would have been the better in-ring match, and it would have allowed Randy Orton not to get pinned, but I think also the Randy Orton match would have been a big marquee match that he's just come back to.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was just not, it just didn't work. The thinking behind it was that the Royal Rumble was revolved more around the stars of Raw, but I think they should have incorporated some of SmackDown as well.
They needed to badly, yeah.
Yeah. So not only it hurt this match, but it also somewhat hurt the men's Rumble too later. I do think it's interesting how Paul Heyman can told Logan Paul follow that when the match wasn't even that good.
It was met with very loud groans.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know about that. There was a trailer for NXT Vengeance Day. Ilya Dragunov versus Trick Williams should be a banger.
Shit, which is in 2 hours.
Oh wait, no, sorry. Is it Trick Williams? I can't remember.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Sorry, I'm getting my wires crossed. And Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez as well. That should be good. Yeah, Shawn Michaels is doing a good job with NXT. I'm not watching it that much, but he is doing a good job. Some of the stuff they did when they were competing with AEW was cringe. And they overloaded the show with stars, but whatever. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, so following the very disappointing world title match, we had Kevin Owens versus Logan Paul for the United States Championship. Interestingly, Paul Heyman did follow that. I actually thought this match was better than the world title match.
So much better.
Yeah. Not only because Kevin Owens is just one of the best in the company. Everything he does is gold. Not only is he a great athlete, but he also is a great storyteller. He's able to get the crowd invested in anything he's doing. Logan Paul is a great athlete. He knows how to connect with the crowd. His knack for storytelling is only getting better with every match. As a United States champion,
really good stuff at the moment.
He actually feels legit as a US champion.
He was great on SmackDown as well.
Yep. And they didn't make Kevin Owens look like a fool by losing to him. They actually made him look really good in losing.
This finish was fucking genius.
Mm-hmm.
I love this finish. And I saw a couple of people, I saw Duel, for New Legacy say, DQ on pay-per-views. Like, that's looking at it very basically. This was because Kevin got caught. He wasn't aware enough to get rid of the nuts.
Yeah, the reason why people are complaining about this is because for so many years Vince McMahon gave us so many poor DQ finishes that were bad.
This is creative. This is so creative.
Yeah, this was actually a really well booked DQ.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Really good. And the match was great too.
Yeah, this showed that a DQ finish can be done well.
Especially when he's in character for Logan.
Absolutely. Oh, if there's anyone in the company that's going to have a DQ finish, it's Logan Paul.
Yeah, but it's not just like I go and hit you with a chair and I keep.
Yeah, it's not like No Way Out 2008 Randy Orton versus John Cena, because that match is fucking awful and I hate it. Where Randy Orton just kicks the referee in the nuts or something, whatever he does. It just gets in Cena's Royal Rumble match just gets null and voided. Fucking what were they thinking? And the only reason they did that is because Triple H versus Mr. Kennedy got cancelled. And so Trips has to be in a big match, so they inserted him into the Cena-Orton feud. Absolute rubbish. Rubbish.
One thing I loved about the start of this match is Logan did the handshake spot. So I just went, oh my god, it's like Ring of Honor. Which is very funny.
I think Logan Paul is more in tune with the product than people realize.
I'd probably say so.
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence. I think what he does, I don't think it's him being like a fan of the deep roots of it. What I think it is I think Logan Paul on social media pays attention to what fans say, and he learns what they talk about, what they think. I don't think it's a coincidence that he does the buckshot lariat. I think he knows that it's Hangman Page's move. It's the same thing as the fact that he does Hulk Hogan's leg drop as well, but he does it with the splits.
They're allowed to do. Whenever people have matches with Logan, it allows them to be very creative because he's that good. It's not very limited like a lot of other like celebrity wrestlers.
I've enjoyed every Logan Paul match I've seen.
All of them have been so good.
Even the match with The Miz was really good.
It's really fun.
Yeah. It's like genuinely one of The Miz's best pay-per-view matches of his career. Like, it's actually crazy. But yeah, they one other thing they did really well in this match was they did the Lex Luger thing with his titanium arm, and they had Kevin Owens kick out of that. They also had Owens kick his arm, so it like took out that it made his arm sore because they used it against him by having the titanium go into his flesh, his muscle. That was really well done. Man, it sucks to say it, but Logan Paul is a great wrestler. He knows what he's doing. He's so talented.
Good.
Yeah. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller got involved in this as well.
The influencers.
Yeah, the influencers. There, I wouldn't be surprised if Logan Paul has a stable with those two at some point.
Absolutely should. He absolutely
because
should.
the three of them have the same energy.
Because I'm imagining Knight will be going for the title at WrestleMania. Yep. Imagine the promos that they all could have together. That'd be so entertaining.
Absolutely. LA Knight and those three. Just imagine LA Knight basically just looking at those three and just burying them.
But not in the same way of Roman does.
Yep. And then LA Knight goes to Austin Theory and be like, last year at WrestleMania, you got Cena, the US title. Where are you now? Huh? Where are you?
You're the crony to the US champion.
Yeah, but as you said, the finish of this match was brilliant. Kevin Owens, very in character, embraced his heel side. That's one of the best things about Owens is that he is a babyface, but he hates that he is a babyface. He hates that he has to, like, control his inner villainy.
He will happily cheat.
Yeah, and Logan Paul tried to use the brass knucks. Kevin Owens reversed it, got it off him. He used the brass knucks. The referee spotted it and then disqualified him. Brilliant. Mm-hmm. This made the referee look amazing. The referee was booked so well in this match. This is how... Pay attention, Tony Khan. This is how you book a referee.
Mm-hmm. And Logan put the ref over online and on SmackDown, which was great.
Yep. It was brilliant. This was so much better than the world title match. Like, insanely better. Because they told a really good story. I also like how in every match Logan has one of his friends in the influencer sort of community try and get involved, and in this one the officials were stopping him. He was just sitting with, like, he was just shuffling around the outside.
Yeah, a lot of really great spots in this match. Very athletic.
Also, can Logan Paul have a match that doesn't involve the Spanish announce table for once? Or just any announce table? Like, every match he has the announce table involved.
Technically, it happened after the match.
Yeah. We got
he sold it really well in his interview after the show.
We got a trailer for the Elimination Chamber in Perth, which my friend Regan is going to.
Wow.
I said that if he's available at the same time we do predictions, I'll invite him on so that he can do his, because he's going to be actually at the show. That's and cool. So he, like you with All In, he can give a review of being there. It sucks for him that CM Punk has had to pull out, though. He is very angry about that, because he bought his tickets. He bought his tickets with the idea that CM Punk was going to be there.
Sucks.
Yeah,
really
and
suck.
He's also one of those guys who, like, he obviously knows wrestling's fake, but he very much, the more sort of like the sort of less kind wrestling fans would call him a mark, but he's one of those people that really invests into the kayfabe of it, and so because of this, he absolutely hates Drew McIntyre. because Drew McIntyre is being an absolute dickhead about it.
Meanwhile, brilliant. Because we are fucking internet marks, we love him because of how good this shit is.
Oh, I love Drew McIntyre.
So
I'm gonna do what you'll never do. I'm gonna main event WrestleMania again.
I'm gonna live CM Punk's dream again.
Yep. What was that dark match on SmackDown where he came out and he did CM Punk's entrance? And all the memes.
If there's a silver lining to Punk getting injured, it's putting over Drew.
Oh, I'm looking forward to SummerSlam more than WrestleMania now. Because I think that's where they're going to do the match.
That should be the world title match at SummerSlam, if Punk is back by then.
Yes, well, again, what are they going to do with Damian Priest?
It's getting to the point where he maybe shouldn't have won the briefcase.
Is he going to have a failed cash-in?
Oh, God.
Are they going to do a failed
Okay.
cash-in and then it'll lead to like Finn Balor versus Damian Priest?
I think I don't even know if they cash in before Mania or after.
Hmm.
I think at this point you just have the best option generally to turn it back to being good is having him running out of time to cash in because he's been so focused on being a tag team and Judgment Day
Yeah,
stuff. He can wait.
they've actually never done that before. They've never had a contract expire. Imagine if he
I think
tries
they
to
can do
cash
that.
in, like he cashes in, tries to cash in within the last month, and every time it gets taken away from him, and then he is forced to he is forced to have a world title match on the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Like before the pay-per-view, he says, "I have to have this match now, so we're gonna have it at the pay-per-view. Otherwise, my contract is gonna expire." Yeah, something like that.
That's the way you turn it around, I think.
It hasn't actually been announced where SummerSlam is, but if it was in Chicago, that would be amazing. Does Chicago have a stadium? I'm sure they do.
Not sure.
Let's just see. Yeah, so after this, we got the by the numbers video, which has the new most stupid statistic of all time. That only, what is it, like 2 point something% of people who've been in the Rumble have won it. It's like, yeah, obviously. 2.6%, obviously, yeah, because every year it's been one person, and then in 1994 it was two. It's like we didn't need to know that. It's such an arbitrary statistic. The one thing I've always noted about the by the numbers video is that ever since 2008, they've had to not have Chris Benoit in it because he won for number one, and it's pretty awkward. Yeah. So, anything you want to say before we get into the main event?
Damn, I was really excited for this match.
I was actually, yeah. It's one of the most hyped matches I've been for in recent years. 2024 Men's Rumble. And I was really I was hyped for the 2023 one as well to see what Triple H would do with it. And the 2023 Men's Rumble is actually a really good match. The one that Cody won last year. But yeah, I was really hyped for this match. They started the match with Jay and Jimmy Uso, which is a great start. In theory, at least. Even though I don't like the SummerSlam twist, having those two start the Royal Rumble was a good choice, in theory, even though they arguably didn't do enough with it in the match. But they had them start. I do like. This is a bit of real life trivia, but it's common worldwide that the most common rivaling gang colors are blue and red, and it's a worldwide thing. It's the same thing in my country. The rivaling gangs are always dressed blue and red. I like that Jay and Jimmy Uso have been doing that. Jay dresses in blue and Jimmy dresses in red.
Good guy versus bad.
That's true, actually.
Red versus blue. Very famous YouTube
Although,
series.
if you want to come here and tell the Bloods gang that the Crips are the good guys, they'll beat you up and probably shank you.
Jesus. Jay's reaction to Jimmy's music playing was so good.
Yeah. He was almost in denial, like he was covering his face up and being like, no, this can't be real.
His eyes told it all.
Also, I love the fact that Naomi and Jimmy Uso were both number 2. That's a great bit of detail.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But yeah, it started really well by having these two brothers start the match together. The only issue I have with this is that because they are literally twins, they have a very similar in-ring style. And as a match, that segment on the Australian morning news thing where someone asked Grayson Waller to do his finisher on him, and he protected the business.
Yes, I did.
That was great.
I saw.
I'm gonna fucking punch you for the real in the face, mate. This is no joke. And LA Knight's just staying out of it.
Yeah. One thing I was shocked they didn't do was have one of them eliminate the other. Jimmy and
Yeah.
Jay.
Why?
Don't know why they didn't. They had Jay clapped and laughed, which was pretty funny, but yeah.
It was a very strange choice.
Do that. But yeah, Grayson Waller comes
Like,
out.
Either way, it could have worked. If Jay eliminated Jimmy, it would have gotten a big pop. If Jimmy eliminated Jay, it would have gotten good heat.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I think ever since that morning interview thing, I've seen Grayson Waller in a different light. And then at number 4, out came the return of Andrade from AEW. He had a different song.
He did, yes.
Yes. He's no longer Andrade Cien Almas. And he came out with the AEW presentation as well, with like the mask and the attire. He was jacked. Yeah, Andrade was definitely a highlight of this match, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does going forward. I really liked on Raw when he said to Nick Aldis, he said, say hello to Zelina Vega for me. That was a great little detail. It's segments like that with the two GMs trying to sign a wrestler that make the brand split feel important. Not only that, but it also makes the wrestler feel wanted. The fact that two people want to have them on his roster.
We did the same thing with Braun, who's going to be coming up after Vengeance Day.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best moment in brand split history is the Batista thumbs down spot after he won the Royal Rumble 2005. That is famous. When he has the Raw and the SmackDown contracts, and Triple H and Ric Flair are trying to be like, yeah. Like, they think Batista's a massive idiot, but he's actually not.
We also had Carmelo Hayes come out after.
Yes, Carmelo Hayes, former NXT champion. He is going to be a huge star. That guy has buckets of charisma. Yeah. Once again, this is another one. I mean, he's been in NXT ever since Black and Gold. He's been there for a long time.
He's been there ages.
Yeah, but I think it's time for him to come to the main roster.
He's got to turn heel, though. He's going to turn heel.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, his matches with Ilya Dragunov are famous. They're probably the best, like, because they don't technically call them takeover anymore, but in like the 2.0 era of the special events, yeah, at the 2.0 era of the special NXT events, they're like two of the best matches they've done.
His match with Dragunov, second one I think was pretty darn good.
Yeah,
I watched that
definitely. Yeah, Carmelo Hayes, great wrestler, great talent, bucket loads of charisma. He's going to be a great star. Yeah. One thing I think that annoys me about Grayson Waller is how they always force that thing where he like rolls into the ring and does his move.
Just give him a cool move set. Give him a move set that is working.
It's so unnecessary. There's a few guys with this. Like Grayson Waller has it with the roll into the ring before the flatliner. Yeah, the other one is Karrion Kross. Why does he do the pump handle before the F5? Now that Brock Lesnar is going to be deleted from the company, hopefully, because of the sex trafficking shit, just give him the F5. Just give Karrion Kross the F5 at this point.
Yeah. And book him well.
Or give him the finisher he did on the Indies, where he would do like an F10, where he'd like spin them around.
Make him shave his head as well, please.
Yeah. He's got the samurai hair now. Yeah, because NXT Karrion Kross was great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least before he got called up to Raw and buried, and then he had to go back and get embarrassed by Samoa Joe and William Regal.
Remember when he came back and he was in the main event picture?
Yep, he pointed at Roman Reigns. Yep.
Ringside for that match.
The moment he threw a water bottle at Drew, that's kind of like the beginning of the end.
Was when that fireball happened.
Man, that... Oh... Back at, like... You know, NXT Stand and Deliver 2021, when he beat Finn Balor for the belt, and that whole presentation where he was wearing like he had the Halloween entrance inspired Scarlet thing, the steam, the grungy setting, the promos as well. The promos he cut in NXT. I mean, obviously there's the infamous one with Adam Cole, but that was just they just didn't let him fire back at him. If they had let Cross fire back at Adam Cole, that would be a much better remembered promo. But before that point, you know, man, it was such a good period of time. Like when Keith Lee won the NXT title and then they showed that video package of Cross and Scarlett watching over him. So frustrating. Anyway, out comes Santos Escobar.
Santos Escobar.
I feel like Santos Escobar has been what I would call a constipated booked wrestler because he has a lot of potential, but they just kind of hold back a bit.
A little bit. He had a really good promo package on SmackDown, similar to like the Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate stuff.
Yes, that's true.
Way,
that's another thing. Why wasn't Pete Dunne in this match? That was annoying. I don't think he was.
Or Tyler Bate.
No.
Yeah. Very strange omissions.
There's SmackDown guy. I mean, I guess maybe because Sheamus wasn't in it, like, because Sheamus is injured, right? If I remember correctly.
He is, but you could both have Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne in this Rumble. Absolutely.
Yep. They did a funny thing where Santos tried to become friends with Andrade, and then like it just didn't work. I like how they did the reference to LFI from AEW, where Santos is just like, yeah, I'm just like Roosh, I can be your buddy. And then he does the pose of the arm, and then Andrade's just like, what the hell are you doing?
Jimmy did a similar thing as well with Nakamura.
Yeah, that was funny. Although Jimmy Uso's character is really confusing. Like, he's both a serious brotherly betrayal, but he's also a comedic character.
I think the character's messed up, but the performance is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And then out comes Karrion Kross with his new theme because he's got a new faction. Again, one of the most underutilized talents in the company. Yes, no, he's not the best in-ring performer. He doesn't have 5-star matches, but that guy knows how to act. He knows how to play a character. He's jacked. He has a great look, especially when he's bald. If you watch any of his YouTube videos where he plays like the cigar-smoking psychopath on the streets, he gets it. This guy gets it, and for some reason,
it looks very goofy in this match.
It does. He's got like the weird samurai hair.
Yeah, shave off, please.
But yeah, they've tried to do something where they put him in a faction with the Authors of Pain and Paul Ellering, and against the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley. I imagine they're probably going to have
him to get over. Why would you book him this way in like 3 minutes?
I mean, I think 2021 just kind of killed him forever. Like he's never going to get it back.
And I said to someone, I like Karrion Kross. And then I said, my mate loves Karrion Kross. And it's really sad what's happened to him.
It's hard being a Karrion Kross fan. It's really hard because I think his in-ring style in WWE is limited because they don't allow him to be a catch wrestler. Like, you know the match that Ronda and Shane had at SummerSlam? Karrion Kross could have that kind of match, but actually good. He had a match with Jon Moxley in Bloodsport that was basically a shoot style match, and it was a very, very good match.
After that, though, we had
we had Dirty Dominic Mysterio.
The absolute Chad. That is Dominic Mysterio.
Yep, he came out, and this is him after last year when he stole Rey Mysterio's mask. Because technically last year was a 29-man Royal Rumble, when you really look at it.
Yeah.
Dominic comes out looking tough, looks like he's going to kill everyone, and then he gets around the ring and he's an absolute coward.
Seriously, these last 18 months for Dominic have been nothing short of impressive.
Oh, Triple H has made a superstar out of Dominic Mysterio.
Turning him heel at Clash of the Castle was one of the best things he could have done for his career.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about some of the people that haven't benefited from Triple H taking over. He's made a few mistakes, especially this week. But in terms of people that have really benefited from Triple H taking over, Dominic Mysterio is definitely one of them. Sami Zayn is definitely also one of them as well, which we'll talk about later.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Dom was great. I like how he just got into the ring and got beaten the shit out of by these big guys.
That was his character.
Oh my god, for the first time on the main roster, Karrion Kross got a pop. He got a babyface pop because he beat up Dominic Mysterio.
That's how you fix him.
Yeah. But it makes sense
After
though,
that,
because you know, Kross feuded with Ray, so you know he has that sort of connection.
After that, we had Carlito come out with his not as good music.
Yeah. Oh, I fucking hate it. It's terrible. It's not a terrible. Like it's not a terrible song in isolation, but as a Carlito theme song, it's the biggest downgrade.
His other theme would have gotten a massive pop.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing a video recently of like the top 10 biggest theme song downgrades. I think this was in the top 5, and I think I agree.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Though the biggest downgrade of all time has to be Kane, though, because Slow Chemical is like one of the best theme songs ever.
DIY has to be up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm no top, never gonna do it.
Oh yeah.
So
Keith Lee as well.
Keith Lee, yeah.
Keith Lee, he is limitless. And then they went to some. Oh yeah. Well, thankfully they fixed that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of upgrades, though, Roman Reigns definitely is one of them.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
How did Def Rebel make that compared to all the other shit they made?
Yeah, and actually, you know what? I'm actually kind of sad they got rid of Karrion Kross's original theme. I know they've changed his gimmick with the faction, but that first Dead Silent theme from NXT is one of their best songs they've done. In fact, I think, if I remember correctly, it might have been the first Def Rebel release ever, because it happened right at the start of the pandemic.
Speaking of other theme changes, up next was Bobby Lashley.
Yes. Oh.
Still has this theme, which is not as good as his other one.
I love the famous meme theme from like 2007. The hell will we call in your name? It's just so cheesy. Do. Cause hell will be calling your name.
That's his theme at the moment. His theme before then was pretty good, which was a remix of his return theme.
That was good, yeah. If they were to ever somehow get Jim Johnson to come back, they could bring back some of his old themes as well. But yeah, anyway, Bobby Lashley came out, and the big feud he's had recently has been with Karrion Kross's faction. So they faced off. Kross
literally joining them.
Yeah. Kross did the Japanese thing of holding his arms behind his back. Then Carlito got eliminated. It backfired. Kross got speared and then immediately thrown out.
But up next is one of my favorite mid-carders at the moment, who pops me massively. Ludwig Kaiser.
Yep, Ludwig Kaiser is brilliant.
Ludwig Kaiser deserves a big push. He's so good.
Yep. So
underrated.
I loved it. They were all walking to the back fighting, and Kaiser's just like, what the hell is happening? Because obviously within Imperium, Gunther is quite a serious character, and Kaiser is the one that gets to do a lot of the comedy.
Oh, he's so good.
Yeah, he's so charming.
He's got a great look. He's great in the ring, and he's got such a presence. I love him.
Yep, and I think he said he said in an interview, standing next to his girlfriend Tiffany Stratton. Well done, by the way, sir. He said he's officially the first person born in Germany to be in a Royal Rumble match, so that's good for him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, Ludwig
Seriously,
Kaiser was great.
When
The
Imperium is done, he needs a big title reign.
Oh,
at some point.
he's gonna turn babyface someday. He's so over. I loved the spot he had with Dominic Mysterio. It was so funny.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah. Then comes out the oh god, Austin Theory.
He deserves better because he's not bad, but man,
Austin Theory's a good
fucking-
athlete. He has a good look. He has some charisma somewhere in there. But his character, ever since he grew out his beard and got buried by John Cena, he's just been trash.
yeah, he has in contrast to LA Knight, has the modern day Royal Rumble logo on his tights.
Yeah. I think my favorite Austin Theory run is probably in 2021 when he joined the Way. And he had those comedy bits in NXT, though. Those are funny.
He's just quite lame right now.
Yeah.
Like, compared to last year when he had like a really big run in the Rumble, he did not last long this year.
He had a WrestleMania match with Pat McAfee, and Vince McMahon was involved, and Steve Austin. Like, he was a big deal at one point.
And then John Cena the year after.
Yeah. Even though Cena buried him on the promos.
No idea what he's going to do this year.
See, because the promo where Roman Reigns buried him was actually good. That was actually well done because, you know, your daddy's not here anymore. That actually works because it gives Austin Theory something. He's like, he has to fight on his own now and he has to struggle through it. But the John Cena promo just made him look like an absolute fool.
Yeah. Up next, though, Finn Balor came out.
Yeah.
Massive stud.
Absolutely. I think Finn Balor's been a bit overlooked recently because there's been other stuff going on.
Since SummerSlam, yeah.
And apparently his contract is coming up soon, so that's interesting to see what he does with that. I think he will stay. I think he's at that age where he can just stay. You know, he's in his 40s now.
If he went.
Yeah.
But it's not possible.
Because I don't really see what offer they could, like, another place could give him that would be bigger than what he has.
He could join Bullet Club Gold.
I guess, actually, to be fair, that could be quite fun, but I think he needs to
leader.
He needs to stay because the Judgment Day story has more legs, you know, to tell with it.
It depends how long his contract is at the moment.
Yeah. But Finn Balor came out, and Dominic Mysterio was very happy about that.
Very happy.
Yeah.
After that, though, we had number 15.
Which was Cody Rhodes.
It's to finish the story, right?
Yeah. Last year he came out at 30. This year he came out at 15. I guess next year he'll have to come out at number 1, right? To complete the trilogy.
Get the trilogy of halfway, end, and beginning.
Yep. First guy to win 3 Rumbles in a row. That's so ridiculous.
And instantly eliminates Austin Theory, who lost at 2 numbers.
So I just want to say something. Cody Rhodes should be the face of the company. 100%. He should be the world champion.
So he's made being a blue-eyed blonde babyface work in 2023/2024.
Yep.
I don't know how he's done it.
It's the American Nightmare character in WWE, obviously, because AEW is different. In AEW, he was a heel babyface sort of divisive character. And that was in AEW. Had he stayed, he basically would have become Homelander. That's the meme. But
he's actually Superman.
But in WWE, this character is basically everything Vince wanted John Cena to be, but never was. It's everything that he wanted Big Dom Roman Reigns to be, but never was. Cody Rhodes has figured out the formula to get that Hulk Hogan babyface character over in the modern age and be relatable and be sympathetic. He does all the things that a lot of those babyfaces do, but it's genuine. It feels real.
The injury helped a lot as well.
100%.
Silver lining and the pro coming out of that, despite how bad that was he fought in that match at Hell in a Cell.
Yep. And also his run in AEW has gotten the hardcore fans invested in his story. even though they booed him then, when he went back to WWE, he actually got massively over with that crowd. Like, they regained respect for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he went basically to where he belonged. Because kind of like, as you sort of outgrow your clothes, like Cody's character kind of outgrew AEW. And that's not to say that he's bigger than the company. What I mean that as in he no longer fit that mold anymore. You know, back in like 2019, 2020, Cody was perfect for AEW, but then by 2021, 2022, he had actually outgrown that company and he needed to leave and come back to WWE. It was just right for his career. But this guy is the guy. He should be the quarterback of WWE. Like he said in the press conference after the show, people don't acknowledge it, but they need to realize I am the guy and I have been the guy. And to cement that, he needs to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for the title to finish the story. It's not about predictability, because obviously he said what he wants to do and doing it would be a predictable thing, but it's the right thing to do. It is the right thing for him to finish the story. It is needed. That moment where he goes to Dusty's statue in the Performance Center, or if they bring it to one of the Raw shows, and he gives Dusty Rhodes the title, is going to be like one of the biggest moments of all time. Like, if the fans are going to love it. So yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about Cody when we get to the end of the match. We had Bronson Reed come out. He was cool. Big powerhouse wrestler. Then we had Kofi Kingston. They have given up on him doing the save himself spots in this Rumble for the first time since 2011. Kofi Kingston was eliminated without trying to save himself, which was kind of a twist in its own way.
Yeah, I feel like next year needs to be the year they address that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cody did a really crossroads to Nakamura on the ropes and eliminated him. That was a really creative moment.
Yeah.
Which is fits because they've been feuding on Raw. So that's a nice connection.
Kofi eliminated Luther Kaiser because they've been feuding.
Yes, and also it made sense for Cody to go after Jimmy Uso as well because of the bloodline.
Yes. Number 18 though, my random pick, Gunther.
Yes, Gunther comes out his second Rumble.
Which I didn't realize until after the show.
Yes. Gunther came out at number 1 last year and lasted all the way to the end. He had like the performance of a lifetime. It was amazing. This time he comes out and Ludwig Kaiser has just been eliminated and Gunther holds out his arms and goes, "What happened?"
You're a loser, sack of shit.
And then he just basically steps in the ring and is like, "I'm going to show you how it's done."
Yeah, because he's a fucking monster.
Yeah, Gunther is like in the top 5 wrestlers in the world. He's brilliant.
He needs to be world champion this year. World champion this year, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Whoever beats him needs to be well built.
Yeah, there's a few options out there. I think Gunther needs to have a match with Bron Breakker where Gunther gets his win back from NXT. I think that could be a really good match. Because now, obviously, Brock might not be at WrestleMania because of the scandal. If they do Gunther versus Bron Breakker, that could be a great replacement. And Bron Breakker could say, "Hey, I'm one of the only guys that's beaten you in this company." Because he is. He's I think it's him, Ilya Dragunov, and whoever pinned him in Survivor Series, which we'll all forget about. Please forget about that stupid match. That was a terrible match. Anyway,
Roman.
It was Vince McMahon's booking. But Ilya Dragunov and Bron Breakker, apart from that, are the only ones that have pinned Gunther in WWE. Bron Breakker could come out and say, "Hey, I'm the only one of the only people that's beaten you. I challenge you for the Intercontinental Championship." Gunther gets his win back. I think that could be a good story. I wouldn't be against the idea of... I mean, Chad Gable is one people have pitched, and that is also a good idea. I also wouldn't be against the idea of Ilya Dragunov also challenging Gunther when he comes to the main roster, because that feud is long-running. But regardless of who it is, like you said, they need to be well built. it does suck that we're not going to get Gunther beating Brock now, because that would have been a huge moment.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Brock's a bit of a terrible person.
Jesus Christ.
Allegedly, of course, but
Allegedly, but I believe it. Not gonna lie. Sadly, them came out someone who's been having a great run on TV of matches, and that is Ivar from the Viking Raiders.
yeah, he's having a great TV run.
He is. He's one of those mid carders that's really making the most of it. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of 2021 AEW when Darius Martin got injured and Dante Martin had that singles run and he was on TV like every week.
He had that world title match with Paige.
Yeah, with Hangman. Yeah, and he had that whole storyline with Leah Rush and Matt Sydal. Although that was a bit awkward when Leah Rush left the company. Yeah, and he had that match with MJF as well. But yeah, this is reminding me a bit of that. It's like a tag team wrestling is out of, is not on TV, so the other one gets a singles push.
Up next though was a very hyped Braun Breaker.
Yes, so apparently this happened because Brock Lesnar got cancelled from the match. So Braun Breaker filled in and he did a great job.
Filled in brilliantly. Looked like $1 million.
He just is the son of the signers, really. Just like his dad and his uncle, he has it all. He has the athleticism, he has the energy, I think they said he's the fastest guy to run the ropes in the company. Like he runs as fast as like a slow car.
I believe it.
He's absolutely an unbelievable athlete. But like I said, he has the same like charisma that his dad and his uncle have, especially Scott. Maybe not quite as unhinged as Scott Steiner, but he hones it in a bit more. But he has that cool factor. Braun eliminated Jimmy Uso and Finn Balor. That's a pretty big deal. And then they did a stare down between Braun Breaker and Gunther. I believe this was probably going to be Brock and Gunther to set up the Mania match, but they did this instead. This still works because they had that feud in NXT.
Yeah.
That like it's not out of nowhere. So they have history together, and as I said, Braun Breaker is one of the only people to beat Gunther in a match, so Gunther has beef with him. Braun Breaker also has one of the best spears in wrestling.
Absolutely, looks $1 million. Looks brilliant.
Yeah, $1 million. Then after that came out Omos, who had to bend his head down because the roof was too small.
It's so big. How's anybody going to eliminate him?
Yeah, he's basically become the new Big Show for the Royal Rumble. Who's going to eliminate this guy? The best thing about Omos is MVP, to be honest.
Yeah.
I love it how on every every 3 count they have Ollie and Luke say what's it called, fucking thing from COVID, the Hurt Business reunion.
Hurt Business reunion.
And then Ivar went for a springboard and Braun Breaker gave him one hell of a spear. This was amazing.
So good.
Yeah. Braun Breaker looked like a star in this. And then, because of Brock not being on the show, they filled this with Pat McAfee at 22, who looked very surprised. I actually don't know if he knew or not. Was it him pretending?
It's reported that he didn't know.
Wow.
And this was always happening, by the way. It wasn't a replacement for Brock.
Interesting. So they pulled a prank on him.
Yeah, seemingly.
So Pat McAfee had to improvise a Royal Rumble.
I think they probably told him in the headset to go in and go out instantly.
I mean, it's a funny prank, but I will be honest, this was a bit stupid.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan. I feel like that could have been used for Pete Dunne, maybe, or Tyler Bate.
I think the WWE has this weird obsession with Pat McAfee, and I think they need to get over it.
Yeah, just let him be a commentator.
Yeah, he can have a few
matches if he wants to.
He can have a few matches. Yeah. He had a War Games match at NXT. You remember that?
Yeah.
His feud with Adam Cole in NXT was actually really fun.
They treat him like he's always just been main roster, and it's kind of strange to think about. He was in NXT for a bit.
He was, yeah. It was
Doesn't
during
feel
that.
real.
It was during that time period we got that famous gif of Keith Lee buffing Adam Cole into the crowd. Man, that was a good time. That was that period of time when main roster WWE was the drizzling shits, but NXT was great and AEW was great.
Yeah. After that, though, Braun eliminated Omos all by himself.
Yeah. So yeah, they really are making Braun Breaker look like a big star.
He
I think
then
again,
speared the next number.
and then
which
Dominic
was,
Mysterio got Braun Breaker out, and everyone booed.
He then speared JD McDonough.
Yeah, another character who's been really funny lately. It's crazy to think he was in the UK tournament in 2017.
Yeah.
But
Up
yeah,
next though, number 24.
But yeah, JD McDonough has basically been like, he's just like wiggled his way into the Judgment Day because he just wants to be part of it because he's Finn Balor.
Finally,
He's Finn Balor's clone.
Yeah, he finally went his way in, and then R-Truth has been bullying him.
Yeah. And then out comes R-Truth at 24 when he was supposed to be at 24 always, and he came out 24 in the Women's Rumble, and then he came out in this one and he said, "Now this is the match I'm supposed to be in."
Talk about what happened.
And then he throws Jada McDonough into the ring, and then he's immediately thrown out by Jey Uso.
And then after, the best spot of the night.
Yep. R-Truth goes for a tag with Dominic Mysterio. He thinks it's a tag team match. Dominic's confused. He's like, "What the hell are you doing?" Dominic gets taken down, and then Dominic actually tags in R-Truth. He gets a hot tag. And he does.
Genius.
And he does the John Cena 5 moves of doom on Gunther. Which again,
genius.
Gunther, being the ring general who respects this, like the sport, has the most insulting sports entertainment shit done to him. It's so funny.
Yeah, and then he big boots him.
Yeah, he does the "you can't see me," and then he big boots him. He's just like, "No, sports entertainment can die."
I loved it. This honestly was the best thing on the show.
It was so funny.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah, R-Truth is having a hell of a run. He's so good. I think Triple H understands how to do this character better than Vince, because Vince makes it too silly.
Yeah.
He makes it like a 40s cartoon, whereas I think with Triple H it's become more creative. And then after that comes R-Truth's reunited tag team partner from 2011, The Miz, when they had the Awesome Truth.
Yeah.
The Miz, who's having a very strange babyface run. He has been feuding with Gunther, so they had a clash.
Yeah.
It is just strange seeing Miz's babyface. It just doesn't fit.
Yeah. To be fair, though, it has gone over.
It has, for sure. I think they're finally starting to figure it out with Miz as babyface. But it's just... Yeah. It is strange. But yeah, R-Truth...
Good material in there.
Yeah, R-Truth... I'm so happy for the guy, because as I said, he nearly lost his leg. And now he's having a great run. So it must be great for him. And he's like 50 years old or something. He's so old. He's still going.
He looks like he did when he did in like 2004.
Yeah. When he was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. You know what's crazy about R-Truth? You know what's crazy about R-Truth? He had the same theme song in TNA as well.
I learned that recently, yeah.
It's just that the difference is the original version is like it's a explicit version. That he had to remix it for WWE to make it PG. Because the original version of his song had a lot more graphic. You know, it was a bit darker. Like it wasn't as fun. Like the one he has in WWE has the Jim Johnston instrumental remix on it, so it's a bit more lighthearted. Whereas the TNA one was a bit more of a gangster theme. And they've had to censor out a lot of the lyrics. 26, Damian Priest, Send Your Money in the Bank, eliminates R-Truth. again, tying into the Judgment Day story. I thought it was good that they had sort of Jey Uso be the Iron Man of this match. That was a good choice. I really like Damian Priest. I just think at the moment they're kind of stuck as to what to do with him, with his briefcase.
It feels like he's forgetting he's Mr. Money in the Bank.
Mm.
I think all the stuff with Truth has been good between him and Truth.
Yeah.
Like
Well, the character stuff,
but he wasn't
also
happy about it.
As we said at Survivor Series, the stuff with him and Drew McIntyre was amazing.
It's really good.
Yeah, like 2023 was one of his best years, if not his best. And that whole feud with Bad Bunny with Backlash as well, that was great.
So good.
But at the moment, he just kind of feels a bit lost.
Yeah. Not sure don't know why they're booking him this way. Not next. Number 27.
Came Mr. CM Punk. His first TV match since the 2014 Royal Rumble 10 years ago. And his first TV match in wrestling since All In, when you watched him wrestle Samoa Joe in person. Live and in living color.
So weird.
He comes out at lucky number 27, which I don't think anymore is the most won spot. I think it's number 30 now. Yeah. But the last person to do it was Steve Austin in 2001, which is very fitting. CM Punk comes out, and again, it's like, from this moment, I was like, all right, here we go. This is it. We're heading for the big climax of the match. Punk does his big knee on everyone. I love the fact that in 2010, when he was feuding with Rey, Dominic Mysterio was involved in that, and now he's wrestling Dominic Mysterio. And it was great because he's been feuding with Dominic Mysterio on the house shows, and CM Punk eliminated Dominic Mysterio, and the crowd went wild.
Everyone talking about it, oh, he looks so gas. It's like, fuck off. Fuck off. Dude look great. Generally, I don't think I've been more fixated on the last like 10 minutes of a Rumble match than I did when Punk entered. Like, I was like fully heart in mouth the entire time he was in.
He's captivating. Everything he does is important.
Yeah. Up next there was Ricochet.
Ricochet, Mr. We Want Cody. Very based. Yeah. Love Ricochet. Also, much to the compliment, like I said about Ludwig Kaiser, Ricochet is dating Samantha Irvin. Very good on him. Well done, sir. But yeah, no, Ricochet, obviously one of the best athletes in wrestling. He's insanely talented. Last year, he had that big spot with Logan Paul. That's famous. I love the fact that the guy who was considered like an indie-fed mud-show wrestler who was on Lucha Underground as Prince Puma, he had that match with Will Ospreay that divided everyone. Now I have people in the mainstream who know Logan Paul saying, oh, that Ricochet guy. I love that. That the WWE has given him that level of notoriety. Yeah. So yeah, Ricochet into the match. That was cool. Gunther chops The Miz and he fell off the top rope and it was eliminated. It was brilliant.
Perfect.
Yep. And then at number 29, out comes one of the best characters in wrestling, Drew McIntyre. I fucking love this man. He is having the run of his life right now.
What a run.
Yeah, we thought 2020 was good, but the COVID thing kind of fucked it up. And it was a good run. Yeah. But this, man, character-wise, this has been awesome.
Peak. It's been like 2020, Clash of the Castle, and this run.
Yeah, well, this whole run is based on cause and effect. You know, it is the 2020 Mania match and not having fans there, then having the Clash in the Castle where he lost and he got screwed by Solo Sikoa. And I like, again, as I said, Drew McIntyre goes after Jey Uso because of the bloodline. Even though Jey Uso's turned babyface since, Drew McIntyre hasn't forgotten, and they've swapped over. 2 years ago, McIntyre was the babyface, Jey Uso was the heel, and now it's the other way around. And then, I mean, Drew McIntyre is basically feuding with everyone in this match. McIntyre and Priest, once again, they have beef from Survivor Series. McIntyre and Punk have beef. McIntyre and Gunther have beef from last year's WrestleMania. McIntyre and Cody have beef as well. Like, it's just... it's so well done, the story they're telling with him, and how he's just... like, the only person in this match he's not having a feud with is Ricochet.
It's really good stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, the silver lining with all the stuff with Punk is that it's put over Drew massively.
Yep. And then Gunther eliminated Jey Uso, and hilariously, they did the Roman Reigns Survivor Series 2015 moment. Runs in the family, I guess. Yeah, but Jey Uso had a good run as the Iron Man. And then out came number 30, Mr. Sami Zayn, returning from injury.
Lovely number 30.
Yep. He was a good choice.
A bit more to do, because he didn't have much to do when he came in, but I am glad he's number 30.
He was a good choice for number 30, because number 30 has a lot of pressure on it. It has to be someone the crowd likes, otherwise they can turn on it. Most famously, Rey Mysterio from 2014, because he wasn't Daniel Bryan. Last year, they were concerned about them booing Cody because of Sami Zayn. But by having the Men's Rumble open the show, having Sami Zayn at the end of the show with Roman, having Cody at number 30, it just kind of worked out that way. In this one, they had Sami Zayn at number 30 and be like, hey, here he is. He's returned. And he's at number 30. Sami Zayn gets in, and then... ooh. I will say, despite the star power, I don't think the closing moments of this match were as clean as the Women's Rumble. It was a little bit clusterfucky at points. But I was still very invested in it because of all the guys in the ring.
We'll say, though, what a final 6.
Oh, yeah. Nothing against Ricochet, but it made sense for him to be the next one out after that. He got a great elimination. McIntyre catched his leg and backflipped him over the top rope. That was brilliant. And then you had the final 6 of Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Damian Priest, Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre, and Gunther. The right choices, I think, to end this match. The only exception, maybe, is I would have said LA Knight instead of Damian Priest if he was in this match.
Yes.
But
yeah, I would. That's what I would have done.
Yeah. But regardless of the options available, Priest was the right choice to fill in the 6. And yeah, it was very star-studded. And of course, Gunther did a drop kick on Cody. And that was amazing. And then I love this moment. CM Punk did AJ Lee's finisher. He did the Shining Wizard on Gunther. That was a nice little moment. But then, unfortunately, after that, immediately, McIntyre hit CM Punk with a Future Shock DDT, and Punk tore his tricep. And that sucks.
Yeah, it's very unlucky.
Yeah. Sami Zayn hit McIntyre with the Hoover kick. Damian Priest went for the big powerbomb on Sami. And then Sami eliminated Damian Priest. That was a huge moment. But it makes sense. Priest is a senior Money in the Bank, so, he doesn't need to win the Rumble. And then McIntyre eliminated Sami Zayn, crushing everyone's hopes and dreams. Because McIntyre is the biggest bastard in WWE.
Yeah.
And then the final 4 was exactly as we predicted. CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, and Gunther. And then they cut to shots of Seth and Roman in the stands. I loved this presentation. You had Seth doing the big cackle, drinking his drink, and then Paul Heyman listening to Roman. Great facial acting, great, responses. I did think it was interesting that they didn't have the women do this in the stands. They just had them watching the TV. I think I would have liked it better if they both did that.
I'm looking at the match now, and Punk instantly starts chopping Drew with his right arm. The arm with the torn tricep.
Yeah,
I'm just
it's
like,
really
God, don't do that.
yeah, it's really sad. So we got a rematch of last year's Rumble with Gunther and Cody going at it together, and then also Drew McIntyre and CM Punk have been feuding, and they will continue to feud when CM Punk comes back.
Yep, please.
Yep, great stuff. Cody does the Cody Cutter, awesome. And then after a long stretch of chaos, there's also a stand-up between Gunther and Drew. It's just a bit like, oh yeah, because we faced each other at SummerSlam and also last year's Mania, so we're not friends either. Again, making the heels not friends because they are against each other. Same thing with Cody and Punk on Raw. They set it up as like, hey, we may be friends, but we want to win this match.
Yep.
And then like Drew's like, hey, what are you doing, Gunther? And then that moment allowed the opportunity to take advantage of it. Drew goes for the Claymore. And Punk moves out the way. Goes for the go to sleep, slips out of it. And then McIntyre headbutts him. Cody hits the kick. McIntyre goes for the Claymore again. Hits CM Punk with the Claymore. Looks at WrestleMania sign again. As I said, camera work. You can see the obsession in McIntyre's eyes. As a facial actor, he's really, really got it. He understands it. He gets it. And he holds CM Punk by the head. Like, vindictively. It's just like,
belongs to me now.
And then CM Punk lifts McIntyre over the top rope and eliminates him in McIntyre's face of shock and awe and disappointment. That leaves the final three. Gunther is wrecking shop. Again, the fact that dude can do it, can do a drop kick that good at his size is crazy.
Yeah.
He still did it when he was Big Walter as well. He could still do a massive drop kick. The teasing of Cody going out the ring as well in this match was crazy. Gunther gets him into the back suplex, lifts him over, Cody lands. He headlocks Gunther over the top rope. He basically does, like, it's kind of like what Benoit did to Big Show in 04, is he uses a hold to rip them over. I love that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love that Gunther was bested by like a wrestling hold. It's really fitting. They went back up to Seth and Roman. Once again, Seth is having a little cackle. Roman is disappointed that it could be either of these pricks that he doesn't like.
Honestly, this being the final two was perfect.
And it sucks that both of them got screwed. That CM Punk got injured and Cody Rhodes got taken out of the match. What a pile of shit.
It's sad how both sides of this got age piss poor. A week later.
These are the two guys that should have been holding the world titles at the end of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Imagine that timeline. That would have been amazing. So CM Punk and Cody basically, I mean, it seems like any great final two now is basically just trying to replicate Triple H and Shawn from 2007.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not as good as last year's.
No, and part of it is to do with the fact that CM Punk got injured. He was very, like, you could tell he was not at his best. The last year's one with Gunther and Cody was amazing, though. I remember when Cody hit Gunther with the Shattered Dreams. That was a brilliant moment last year.
Yeah. Doesn't change the fact, though, that I was hooked.
Absolutely.
Completely, like, nervous.
Well, they did a thing that is rare for a Royal Rumble match, but they only get to do it sometimes, is they have the end result of the match genuinely be a 50-50 odds with the final two, where either man could equally win, and it would make sense. And usually
no idea. Yeah.
Usually it is the two guys that are challenging for the world titles at Mania that are the final two when they do this kind of thing. And that's how they make it unpredictable. It's why Sheamus winning in 2012 was such a shock, because Jericho was supposed to win, but they were both the challengers for the world title. But yes, we got a long final two sequence between Punk and Cody. We got, let's go Punk, let's go Cody chants. This was just great. the obsession for main eventing WrestleMania. Cody wants to finish his story. Punk wants to do what he always wanted to do since he was a kid. It's like you got two amazing stories colliding at the same time, and they want the same thing. And CM Punk gets Cody up for the GDS, gets denied. Cody looks at the WrestleMania sign, goes for the crossroads, gets denied. Punk tries to get Cody the ropes, it doesn't work. Desperation, panic. CM Punk more frustrated. Every time Cody reverses it, gets more frustrated. Up for the GDS, crossroads. Then Cody gets up again. Camera goes round, cinematic angles, picks him up. And then CM Punk hits the go to sleep on Cody, and then they both fall over. It's just epic stuff, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then they try it again. I love the spot where Cody's trying to spider grapevine Punk over the ropes as he's holding onto them. That was great.
And after that,
CM Punk hits the pedigree.
Yeah. And he has a fucking shit-eating grin.
Hilarious.
And
that was the moment when he kind of turned heel in the match, was when he hit the pedigree. That's when he became the villain of the match. He gets Cody up for the go to sleep and says, I did not wait 10 years to come back to lose to Dusty's kid. Goes for the go to sleep. Yep.
He said that, I knew he was losing.
Yeah, Cody catches his leg, holds Punk's look of despair on his face when he realizes what's about to happen. Good. He's like, oh fuck, I have ruined it. Cody throws him over the top rope, and the match ends.
Yeah.
Great story. Fuck Dwayne Johnson, though. Because after the match, Cody gets on the top rope. He does exactly what he did last year. He salutes the Bullet Club. He salutes the Elite. He points at the WrestleMania sign. The pyro goes off, and then he turns his arm and points at Roman Reigns and says, I want you at WrestleMania.
Roman Reigns.
Everyone cheers because it's what we fucking want to see. God! And this ending makes sense for Cody to win, even though I wanted Punk to win and I predicted him to. The reason why this ending makes sense in storyline wise is because why wouldn't CM Punk want to face Roman Reigns for the night 2 main event? That is something that in character he could choose, but by having Cody win the Rumble and choose Roman, Punk is forced to go for Seth. It's his only option, and that allows both matches happening to make sense. This worked. This convinced me that Cody was the right person to win once I figured that out. That it was it made sense to not have Punk have the option of Roman Reigns. The fact that Punk can only choose Seth if he won the Chamber. Obviously, he got injured, but in theory, that's the idea. And also the story they told of CM Punk gets cocky, does the pedigree, shows off, says, I didn't wait 10 years to come back to lose to Dusty's kid, and Cody wins back-to-back to finish the story at Mania against Roman Reigns, and then Punk and Rollins could have effectively gone to night 1. It was awesome. And then SmackDown happened.
It was all fucked. One thing we haven't thought about is Seth could potentially get booed out of the building as well. Because he could be like, thank you, Cody, for doing what you did.
You know what annoys me the most, and I feel so angry about this, is that before SmackDown, when it was just Raw, there was a lot of hot takes about that promo, and I agree that some of the ramifications are a bit damaging. However, there was potential within it to really utilize the brand split, and also Seth Rollins giving it, hey, I want you to face me because I think Roman Reigns doesn't deserve it. There is an actually really good character beat within there, utilizing the brand split, utilizing the meaning of the different titles, saying, hey, I hold the big gold belt, which is not only the belt that your father had, that Ric Flair had, but it's also the belt that represents I come out here every week and defend the title when I can. I wrestle on the house shows. I am the working class world champion. Roman Reigns is the political champion. He's the one that never turns up. He cheats to win every match. for the honor of this game, you should face me. And it's a conflict because Cody agrees that Seth is right on that, but also wants to face Roman to finish the story. That is an interesting setup, and I was defending that because of that reason. And I hate that I have egg on my face because the reason why that happened is so they could set up Dwayne. It pisses me off to no end that that's the reason they did it. Because now the World Heavyweight Championship and Seth Rollins look like shit, and Cody looks like an idiot.
Cole going, "Hey Roman, what innings are we in now?" has aged like piss. It's like,
Well,
how
unless, of course, Dwayne Johnson books himself to win the match.
the lack of self-awareness is insane.
Yep. And I like to call him Dwayne Johnson now because that's who he is. This is not The Rock from the Attitude Era. This is some selfish prick who's decided that he is going to not have Cody's story ended because he wants his match. It's so bad. And it's not just the fans that are angry. The WWE creative team backstage is also angry, and the locker room as well. They all understand the fact that on paper, yes, The Rock versus Roman Reigns in terms of like mainstream appeal, spectacle, draw, like it is a bigger match than Cody versus Roman. But in terms of the story, sacrificing Cody's story for this is the most retarded, asinine, just resentful bit of booking. This is as bad as a lot of Vince McMahon's worst moments. Like, we're talking the level of like Seth versus the Fiend, Hell in a Cell, Goldberg squashing the Fiend, 2015 Royal Rumble, ironically with Roman Reigns, The Rock ending the show in Philadelphia, no less, which is where WrestleMania is going to be. It's almost like we're in for a repeat of 2015. Yeah, this was unbelievably stupid. The fact that the Royal Rumble match winner has given up. Like, obviously, they might say, oh, he's going to pick Seth Rollins, right? He still gets his match. No. The point of the Royal Rumble is that you, as the winner, get to choose your opponent. You get to choose what you want, and no one else can stop you. And the fact that Cody Rhodes has chosen to give up finishing the story so that Dwayne can have what he wants in kayfabe is bad, stupid, awful, disgusting rubbish. And I know people are saying, oh, this is the worst decision Triple H has made in his run. I actually don't think this is what Triple H wanted. I think he was forced to do this by Dwayne Johnson. I think he was... Because of CM Punk's injury, it meant that they were desperate to fill the card, and I think that The Rock has put so much pressure on him, given that he is an executive of TKO, which is above WWE. I think The Rock has forced Triple H to make this match happen. And it's despicable.
I just don't get how anybody could be like, you know what? Yeah, let's go with this idea after what they did at the Rumble.
Dude, I don't agree with this idea either, but if you're going to have this match, just have The Rock win the Royal Rumble. I don't want that to happen, but it makes more sense that way.
Yeah. The entirety of this last week has made Cody look like the biggest dork in the world.
And instead of what they... if CM Punk is injured, right? He's injured, we can't control it. It is what it is. You know what you do? You have Cody face Roman, you have The Rock in his corner to fend off Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. And then they set up a match for WrestleMania 41 a year in advance. And then you have Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. because McIntyre has been feuding with Rollins in the past. He can't get it done. Now McIntyre could win the Chamber, face Rollins. He wins the World Heavyweight Championship, and he rubs it in CM Punk's face that he main evented WrestleMania, and Punk didn't. And then Damian Priest has beef with McIntyre because he's something with the Money in the Bank. It just makes sense. Drew McIntyre should be facing Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, and Cody should be facing Roman. The Rock does not need to be in the main event this year. Take the belt off Roman, do it a non-title match for the head of the table next year. The Rock versus Roman Reigns doesn't. It could at any other time. Fine, do it. Not this year. This is not the time to do it. And all of this could have been avoided if Cody had just beaten Roman last year. If Cody had beaten Roman last year, Cody was going into this WrestleMania defending the championship, and CM
Or
Punk
maybe going back for it. He could have lost it by now.
could have gone back for it. Anything.
Doesn't have to win the Rumble.
Yeah, you could have. Imagine if we had the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns in the Royal Rumble for the first time. We've never had that. And he wants to regain his title that he lost, and The Rock screws him out of it. And then that sets up a non-title match at Mania.
Yeah.
There's so many great options. You could have had you could have had CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, you could have had Cody versus McIntyre, and you could have had Rock versus Roman on this show, on WrestleMania, if Punk didn't get injured. If all that happened, there's a lot. You could have had Cody versus Gunther, you could have had, it's endless, really. But the option they've chosen, The Rock versus Roman Reigns, is the wrong choice. And yeah. Yes, Regan, who is going to the Elimination Chamber show, he has just left a comment saying, you tell him. You tell him, Connor. You're damn right.
Yeah.
Fuck Dwayne Johnson. We want Cody.
It's a lack of self-awareness to an extreme.
Yeah, and as you know, if you check out our day 25 of the Advent calendar, our top 25 favorite wrestlers, we both put The Rock on it. Yes, in his prime, he's one of the GOATs, especially Attitude Era Rock. He was Hollywood Rock. He's one of the greatest of all time.
Rock.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest of all time. But this stuff like this is really damaging his legacy in wrestling. This reminds me of when he shoehorned himself into the DC universe as Black Adam, and then it basically just died.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Zack Snyder was already making it really bad anyway. But The Rock making himself Black Adam, it was the final nail in the coffin for that series.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they'll backpedal and change it? They better.
Getting We Want Cody still trending with,
and it's interesting,
342,000 tweets.
We've got mainstream football players talking about it. We've got Logan Paul talking about it. Like, it's huge. We've got TMZ talking about it.
We've got football Twitter talking about it. We have like influencers talk about it.
Yep. We've got people booing The Rock at house shows when he comes on the screen. That Vegas thing on, was it Thursday? The announced like the WrestleMania thing that they're doing. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if Dwayne gets shit on and booed.
Monday's going to be very interesting.
Mm-hmm. People are just going to chant at Cody saying, we want Cody. Finish the story.
I don't get how anybody can't understand why people are pissed.
You know what's interesting, though? If history tells us anything, I know Vince McMahon's not involved anymore, but if history tells us anything about WWE, they could change it, because at every 10 WrestleManias, this shit happens. The company wants something, the fans want something else, and they go with what the fans want. At WrestleMania 10, Vince wanted Lex Luger to beat Yokozuna for the belt, to crown the sort of next Hulk Hogan of WWE. But the fans weren't having it. They wanted Bret Hart. They had both of them win the Royal Rumble, and they did a coin toss. By the time they got to Mania, they had Lex Luger lose. They had Bret Hart win. The show ends with Bret as champion. which is why he ended up wrestling twice, because he had the match with Owen Hart as well at the start of the show. But yeah, the company wanted Lex Luger, the fans wanted Bret Hart. We got Bret Hart at WrestleMania 10. At WrestleMania 20, the company wanted to finish the Triple H Shawn Michaels feud that had been going for 18 months. It was great to start with at SummerSlam 02, but it had gone for too long, and the fans wanted Chris Benoit. Obviously, it hasn't aged well since, but at the time, they wanted Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero. They had Eddie beat Brock at No Way Out in a beautiful match. Unbelievable, and they had him face Angle at WrestleMania 20. And then they had Benoit won the Royal Rumble, and he was inserted into the triple threat, and the fans got what they wanted. They got Benoit and Eddie as champions at the end of the show. WrestleMania 30, the company wanted Randy Orton versus Batista. The fans turned on it. They wanted Daniel Bryan. We got the triple threat match, Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton versus Batista. So WrestleMania 10, Bret Hart finishes the story. WrestleMania 20, Chris Benoit finishes the story. WrestleMania 30, Daniel Bryan finishes the story. And now we have WrestleMania 40. Dwayne wants Dwayne. The fans want Cody. Will they fix it?
We'll find out very soon. I think.
WrestleMania, I hate to be entitled, but WrestleMania 40 needs to end. Night 2 needs to end with Cody Rhodes holding the title that Roman Reigns has. That is the end of the show. And if they don't do that, if they do anything else, it's the wrong choice. I can't see any alternative that works.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. That monster edit you sent me was sick. Reminds me of WrestleMania 30. Yes, someone made a Cody Rhodes monster video, like how, Daniel Bryan had that for WrestleMania 30.
I think that was made like last year.
It was made for last year's Mania, but it still fits.
Mm-hmm. Still fits.
Yeah, they could make an updated version where they add stuff from the last year in it. Maybe.
Yeah.
But, man, when you see Cody Rhodes out there wrestling, when you see him on promos, when you see him on house shows, he's out there hugging, some blind girl. Today, he did that today. He is the guy. He's the one that's there. Dwayne's not there. Roman's not there. Cody Rhodes is the guy. When you see him on those press conferences, when they asked him about Vince McMahon's sex trafficking allegations, Cody Rhodes gave the best possible answer to that question, where he says, I don't have the answer to this because it's far above me, but there is something about this locker room where there is a sense of family among us, and maybe that is what going forward is going to help us breed a better culture. That is your guy. That is your face of company. That is the guy who represents everything that you want WWE to be. And the fact that he is not going to have that moment where he is crowned as the guy and it's Dwayne is a fucking disgrace. So, the ball is in your court, Dwayne Johnson. I do the right thing, or you will be forever tarnished by this shit.
Yeah.
Your Hollywood career has already been buried by Black Adam. It's time for you to It's time for you to save your wrestling career. Give Cody the story, have your match with Roman at another time, and then retire and go in the Hall of Fame, and everything will be fine. Do not fuck this up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you give your thoughts on all of that.
I pretty much echo everything. I watched SmackDown Live because I heard the rumors that Dwayne was going to be on the show. And
you know what sucks about it? Is that outside of the last 10 minutes, it was a really good SmackDown.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Didn't have Styles, Randy, or Knight on it, but overall, it was a very solid episode.
The Bayley Io Sky segment was great.
Yeah, like Luke said, I'm very surprised they did it early.
True. I would have liked if they'd done it just before Elimination Chamber,
or just after, maybe around that time, pretty much.
Well, the thing is that the problem is you kind of have to do it before, because the women's chamber match, I assume, is probably going to be number one contender for Rhea Ripley.
possibly, or
The
defense.
I mean the other option would be
defense
the other option is Rhea Ripley defends the belt
because it's in a home country. It'd be weird if they didn't defend the belt. That's what I think is going to happen.
Regan left a great comment. The fact that Dwayne is going to be in the main event of WrestleMania and I'm not makes me sick. CM Punk has to not like this, surely.
No way.
Literally right after the Rumble when he had the torn tricep, he said, "Come on, man, finish your story." He was in tears and he gave Cody a hug. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a big mess.
Yeah, at that Vegas show, they need to have The Rock decide against it and they need to change it. They need to swerve it. It's the only acceptable option.
Is have Rock say, "Cody, come out here. I appreciate what you're trying to do, but it's not my time, it's yours. Because Roman, I'm going to face you at Mania next year."
Yeah, if they recontextualize it as Cody was doing it because he's selfless as opposed to stupid, it would slightly repair some of the damage they've done to his character. Yeah. And I think there's an actual character thing with The Rock they could do where it's like, I am the people's champion and the people have spoken.
Mm-hmm. That's the one. That's how you save it this week.
And then just after WrestleMania, either on Raw or SmackDown, probably SmackDown, they do what they did in 2011 with Cena and Rock, where they say 1 year in advance, I am facing you at WrestleMania next year. I think that could actually work.
They should do that at the press conference.
They could do that too, yeah. And basically it's like, Cody gets one more chance to finish the story, and if he doesn't do it this year, then that's tough. I'm giving him one more chance. Mm-hmm. And The Rock should say, no matter what title you hold, no matter where you are, Roman, you will face me at WrestleMania 41.
Mm-hmm.
And they signed 2 contracts.
Yeah.
And at this Mania, I will be in Cody's corner to make sure that the bloodline don't get involved.
That's how you put them over.
Yeah. And you do the right thing and you have Dwayne Johnson raise Cody's hand at the end of WrestleMania. It's all there. They have an opportunity to fix this. We just have to see if they actually care what the fans are saying. If Dwayne Johnson can put his ego aside and do what the fans actually want to see. Because apparently the reaction backstage within creative, within crew, within executives, and within talent roster was shock when that happened, when Dwayne Johnson came out on SmackDown. And the vast majority, I think I've seen multiple polls online about this, about who should face Roman at WrestleMania, and Cody Rhodes on all of them is about 80%.
Yep, as it should be.
Yeah. And it's not because we hate The Rock. We just hate what The Rock's doing. It's his actions. It's not the person, it's his actions.
Because we invest a lot of time to this product and this story, and we don't like it when it's completely fucked.
I have followed Cody's career since he was in Legacy in his first run. I've seen him go through that whole arc. I'm so invested in this. I'm so invested in seeing him climb to the mountain. And I saw him, in his AEW run and everything, Like, it just has to happen. The fact that The Rock can't recognize that Cody's story is more important right now than his story is just tone deaf. I did notice in a comment on Instagram, he did say tough skin, love the passion, which is pretty passive aggressive of him. Yeah. Anyway, so I believe the next pay-per-view is Elimination Chamber in Perth.
Mm-hmm.
If we can time it right, we'll get Regan on the predictions and the review. We'll see how it goes. time zones can be a little bit tricky with him because he's in Western Australia. And then after that will be AEW Revolution, and then after that will be WrestleMania 40. But if I can get my editing process in check and get it all sorted, one of the next uploads on this channel, on GoAWrestling, will be the first episode of EWAB. Callum, do you want to tell everyone who's watching about EWAB and what it is and what we're doing?
EWAB is a brand new spin-off podcast of the spin-off podcast where we will be watching old school wrestling matches, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We've recorded one session already, which was great. There's a lot of potential with this that we're very excited about. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it.
And sort of like to explain, EFAP is every frame of pause. EDAR that we do on the main channel is every Doctor of Regeneration. And in this one, EWAB is every wrestler a bump, which Callum came up with.
Because I'm a fucking genius again.
Yeah, and you did
both.
And you made the logo where instead of the Peter Capaldi, it's two wrestlers grappling.
Yeah. super funny.
Yeah, but yeah, when that comes out, I hope you'll enjoy that because we had so much fun with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In terms of other stuff on the channel, we are going to batch up Game of Thrones Season 6 reactions and upload those when they're ready. That should be a lot of fun. We've already done the first one of that. Season 6, Episode 1. I will not reveal what our opinions were on that episode. And, yeah. There's a whole bunch of other stuff coming soon, so I hope you all enjoy. Overall, Royal Rumble 2024, I thought was a good show. It had a few issues on it. I think that the Undisputed match was a mess. It was disappointing. I think people are being harsh on the Men's Rumble. I don't think it's as disappointing as they say. I think it's mostly a good match. But I think the main reason people were disappointed is because the Women's Rumble was so much better, and it was before it.
Yeah. And I guess I enjoy the mid-card of WWE more so than most people, because people like Liv de Kaiser, I get a massive pop out of.
Amazing. R-Truth. Yeah.
I really like the Men's Rumble a lot. I'm surprised it got as mixed feelings as it did.
I don't think it's as good as last year, though. I think last year's was cleaner. It was more consistent. This year had issues, but the good stuff was really good. The last 10 minutes with the final 6 especially was awesome. And to the ending of the match, having CM Punk say, "I didn't come back after 10 years to lose to Dusty's kid," and then losing to Cody is beautiful. Perfect. I was hell bent on the idea that CM Punk has to win the Rumble. And then that moment convinced me that Cody should win the Rumble. They pulled it off. 2 years in a row, they pulled off Cody winning the Rumble and it being really good. Because last year, people wanted Sami Zayn to win it, and then they managed to pull that off too with Cody winning. As I said, Cody is the babyface that Vince always wanted John Cena and Roman Reigns to be, but without all the issues. He's able to get over in that way because the character actually works. He's not a bully. He's not a fucking cringe promo smartass. He doesn't say stupid things. And he's not Cody Rhodes is very protected. He's only lost one match since coming back to the company. He's only been pinned once, and that was by Roman last year. But it doesn't feel like he's over pushed. It doesn't feel like he's shoved. There's a very deliberate way of booking Cody that's worked really well. So, yeah. Let's see what they do at the press conference. And, yeah, that's all I've got to say on that. We'll see you all next time. Hope you'll enjoy it. Yeah, I bid you adieu.